Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first of our fantastic ETF2L Season 32 playoff games. Today we're going to be seeing our upper bracket round 1, Se7en versus Feint Gaming. I'm Eepily, joined today casting with your boy Eemes and Wiethoofd on production. How's it going?
It's pretty good, Eepily. I'm ready for a good game here. First game of playoffs, so I'm definitely excited. We've had a pretty eventful season, I would say, but probably the 4 teams that are expected to get into playoffs have all managed just about to get there. And yeah, it's looking like a pretty good game today.
Yeah, just before we went live, we were talking, a little bit about which of these teams got into playoffs. Obviously, the way it went down, Se7en got the top seed just only. There's a 1-point difference between Se7en and Ascent, and Feint Gaming kind of got through on 4th place. But considering we saw some crazy stuff in our French derby game just a couple of weeks ago, kind of Feint's position getting into this playoffs was a little bit uncertain a couple of times throughout the season. So the fact that they're in here, kind of, they are that lower seed, but I'm willing to think they're wanting to try and go as deep into these playoffs as possible. Kind of prove that, hey, they've made it in there. Let's see how far we can get now.
Yeah, they were a bit shaky to begin with this season, but really with a strong showing, particularly at the end, getting that 6-0 against Gwynkamp in a very tightly fought game, which they kind of ground out the victory very, very diligently and cautiously. But they managed to win there against a team that beat Swift, who had beaten Feint earlier in the season. That's I think kind of developing themselves over the season, or maybe Gwynkamp getting a bit worse. Who knows? But yeah, they definitely had a strong finish of the season than they started.
Yeah, I think kind of, seeing the different players, seeing the kind of team move throughout the season, I feel like, exactly like you said, it was a little bit slow, but I feel like once that Feint engine starts getting going, there's some serious fragging power in this team, and we actually did see Se7en and Feint play each other week 5, and as much as the second map process was pretty one-sided, a 5-0, actually the first map, Logjam, was a narrow 2-1 win for Se7en, so, it was a slightly different map. Obviously, people are still a little bit uncertain, but when it comes to just kind of, one team's fragging power against another, it seems like Feint Gaming can really, hold their own.
Yeah, I think so. And so speaking of maps, let's go on to talk about the bans that they've done. It's now playoffs, so Se7en with the advantage in the banning process. That means they get one more pick than Feint. But naturally, having lost that 5-0 on process earlier in the season, Ombrak did begin with banning process, which is fairly interesting to see. We then go on Thalash banned Logjam, so that's also kind of makes sense. Them that being the closest map they played, one of the closest maps they played this season, so they're going to get away that kind of wildcard map. They then pick Gullywash, which Se7en have been traditionally pretty strong on. Cadis very good at Gullywash middle. Ombrak picking Snakewater, which is traditionally quite a weak map for Se7en, so that's also kind of makes sense. And finally Thalash picking Granary, which is kind of should be fairly even. So what do you think of those picks, Eepily?
I think it's definitely interesting to say, like you said, when it comes to Snakewater, it seems like a logical pick. There's the kind of, ongoing viewpoint, and it almost becomes a bit of a recurring joke in TF2 that you pick Snakewater against any Cadis team. It's like his kryptonite. He absolutely hates it, and that kind of, translates through to the team that he's playing on. They kind of a little bit less keen on playing it, a little bit less keen on kind of doing whatever, because a lot of the time that's a map which in these kind of, best threes or best of fives, whatever, they can just ban out and not worry too much about. So the fact that Se7en had to ban Logjam because they clearly felt uncomfortable with that newer map and Snakewater gets through, I think there's a pretty decent chance of that being possibly quite a strong win for Feint, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. It's going back quite a long time, and there is only one player on the same roster that's the same name. But so Feint Gaming at I-63, I think they did actually take a map off Se7en, if I remember correctly, or at least they took it to a golden cap on Snakewater, which was quite unexpected. Played a very, very close game with them. So yes, Se7en definitely. Snakewater is going to be the time where Feint really going to want to pick them apart if they can. I think there's the mid fights from Cadis in particular are going to be too much for them on Gullywash, probably because he's just got such a great read of he hits the rollout so crisply, gets such great damage on the big door, and his timing is really important. Going over point exactly when soldiers have made space, he's very, very good at that. So I think it's going to be very difficult for them to win Gullywash, but they could definitely take the other two maps.
Yeah, I think if we see something kind of go equal and go into this third map, go onto Granary, I feel like, people always talk about Granary as being a very soldier-centric map, and it's definitely rough from Feint's point of view there. Not to say Polygon and Mathers are particular kind of, slackers, but you're against Starkey and Captain, and they're two of the most well-known soldiers kind of in the game at this point. I'm hoping that, they didn't ban Granary. Feint were kind of clearly happy to let it through a little bit, and as much as they couldn't really predict that it would necessarily go to that map because the way that the picks and bans work, they kind of floated 3 maps effectively. I'd like to think Feint have some kind of plan, or at least, over the last hour or so have been developing some kind of plan, even if it's some kind of weird stuff, because I don't know, from just looking kind of roster against roster, I feel like, I don't know, Granary might end up being a little bit one-sided if it goes there. It could be a really, really rough game, but, I'm always happy to be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see, actually, Feint not even opting to play Granary in their warm-up today. So focusing on Gullywash and Snakewater, maybe trying to come home with a win from there. But they actually had a pretty poor performance on Snakewater against their warm-up, so they didn't actually even win that game. So they're going to be probably maybe a bit shaky coming into this. Maybe just shaking off their nerves in the warm-up, then they'll come out fighting. Who knows? But that could be an issue for them if they're not performing red hot tonight.
Yeah, so obviously the way that things work here, I believe. So we have this first best of 3, and then the winner for this game. I'll have a look at have a little check through some of these playoff brackets, because it's quite a significant first game. If Feint pull the most almighty fantastic upset, they're actually sitting in a pretty fantastic position, even if they were then to lose the game after this. Of basically making grand finals. Obviously, Se7en at this point, they kind of want to try and sail through as much as possible without breaking a sweat, without dropping any math at all. So it's I feel like this kind of first game, because it is that upper bracket, it's super significant. If you can get off to a good start, then you get that time to watch some of the other teams, kind of prepare a little bit for those later stages of the playoffs. Whereas if you kind of if you start going through those low brackets from the start, like, it requires a hell of a lot more playing. You've got to spend those days kind of scrimming and focusing everything and actually playing the games, and you kind of get slightly less time to watch the teams and kind of counter strat a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And just going back to those logs from the warm-up that I'm so intent on talking about, Feint did lose on Snakewater, but to an actual established team. But Se7en also drew on it to a mix, although admittedly a lot of the mix was Ascent's team, but maybe 4 Ascent players, I think. But so Snake is going to be pretty interesting, with both teams having very questionable results in the warm-up. So there could anything could happen on that map. Neither team looking particularly strong on it at the moment.
No, yeah, that's a little bit of a weird one. You don't tend to expect, especially two of the top teams in Prem at this point, to be looking shaky already in their warm-ups. But said we'll have to wait and kind of see what happens. For the time being, I think we've got to start talking about some Gullywash stuff here. So you've already talked about Cadus in terms of these mids, his kind of timings, his aggression, his kind of ability to move forward with the rest of his team. Who do you think is going to be kind of the guy who's going to be counteracting that a little bit on Feint, or more importantly, kind of who has to?
Well, it's definitely part of the focus is on Ixi or Kuni. Whichever one is pressuring Cadus early on in the fight is obviously very important to make sure he can't get too aggressive on them. And potentially, Mathis, if Cadus is going even further forward, he can get the bomb on him. But Cadus is one of the smartest demos out there. Obviously, he's got by far the most experience of anyone in this server, I'd say. So it's going to be pretty rare to see him getting caught out by an aggressive roamer bomb. And Mathis, again, probably the least experienced player on the server. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Mathis can actually, make some unorthodox plays and try and catch Cadus out by doing stuff that he wouldn't expect, or if Cadus is just going to read him like a book, like and shows inexperience, basically.
Yeah, I think that idea of getting that initial kind of early aggression to, not necessarily kind of take down the demo, kind of, get huge damage, get huge frags, whatever, but just that idea of like pressuring a little bit, it helps you get through that big door. It helps you kind of set up on that mid fight. We've seen in kind of previous games, loads of kind of teams, when there's a significant skill differential, sometimes it feels like teams can't even really get through the big door, or like they can't really get to that position where they set up. And I feel like that's something where teams got to really recognize that flow of the mid, recognize what they need to do to change that from happening. Otherwise, you can just kind of lose control of that game. It can just spiral out of control, and then before you know it, I don't know, you're 4-0 down and you're holding last again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important for Feint to just be able to get into the game, get it, just maybe even if they lose the first mid, but they don't get rolled to last, and they're just, they're able to slow things down, take things on their own terms, because I think Feint can definitely go toe-to-toe with Se7en here if they are able to play things on their own terms, which is quite slow and methodical, which is actually quite similar to Se7en in a way. But if Se7en start, really getting into their groove and rolling over them, stumping them on mid and rolling it to last, Feint are going to have a really rough time counteracting that, because they need to be in control to try and make stuff happen. And if they're not particularly good at reacting to that kind of thing, I would say.
I think in terms of a kind of player to player, I think that the two players on each team that really scream out as they're going to want to frag, to me, it feels like. Actually, okay, I'm not going to say 2. I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say this Scout comparison is going to be super, super important because we've seen games where Tiger can completely just take control of a server. He will just run around and seemingly be able to do just whatever he wants and just absolutely mince people. And yet, we've also seen other games, granted, against slightly lower skill level teams, but we've seen Ixie do something very, very similar. And I feel like some of this might even just come down to which scout's feeling the most, because like between Thalash, Tiger, Ixie, and Kunu, like all of these scouts can just absolutely like wreck, If one guy's really like hitting his shots and he's like really feeling it, it can make just a hell of a difference in terms of these kind of transition plays and, just the way they move around the map.
That is true, but I know I do feel it's a bit weird to focus on the scouts on Gullywash in particular, because this is particularly the mid. This is really the soldier mid, right? Obviously, the demo can do damage early on, but it's basically if the soldiers can coordinate effectively, they can do so much on this mid. Gullywash is probably one of the best soldier maps in the game. So, the scouts can obviously will do stuff on whatever map it is, but I know I'd say probably focus on the soldiers slightly more.
Okay, well, like I said, on these mids, getting these big initiations, these big distractions, that kind of stuff is going to be super important. I think we're going to be readying up in more or less just a couple moments. I think we've got 12 people on the server. People are basically ready to go. Let's do some just last-minute little predictions here. Eames, who do you think is going to be taking away this map?
I think it's going to be quite a cagey one. Probably going to be maybe 10 minutes or so until a round happens. I'm going to be proved wrong surely immediately, but who knows? Maybe I won't. So I'm going to say Se7en going to take it 3-1 overall. It's going to be quite a slow one, though.
I'll make a little bit of a random prediction here. I'm going to say something very similar. Something more like 4-2. I think it's going to be more rounds, more scrappy fights back and forth, but ultimately be predicting that Se7en is going to be coming out with the big old W here. You would expect it being, these higher seeds going into this first map, which is, of course, their own choice. So I think it's going to be, like I said, so much it comes down to this first mid, these first fights. If you can win quite convincingly a first mid or a first round, it allows you to bolster your team with confidence. You start feeling, okay, right, yeah, we can do this. We're in a comfortable position already. It's only, 5-10 minutes in the game. We're looking good. So people have said for years and years, any kind of, 7 crowns, that kind of team, if you can get around against them and start playing from that advantageous position from the start, that's how you take them down most easily.
Yeah, I think so. And I would say, to be honest, Feint are a little bit like a baby Se7en in their playstyle. They probably play actually slightly more conservatively than Se7en because they're not as sort of practiced in executing the small plays off maybe one pick or a bit of damage, that kind of push. So they're probably even more conservative, just really wanting to protect Ombrak a lot of the time. But both teams, they like to really blob around their medic and demo. They have a strong demo main caller, and they like to not be too aggressive in too many scenarios, like maybe Ascent or Swift. Ascent and Swift, I would say, it's going to be a very interesting matchup because they're both very similar teams. They have a lot of really strong DM players, and they like to just fully commit into fights, right? But this is going to be the battle of the more, the cagey conservative players. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and it's that kind of difference in playstyle. That's slightly kind of less aggressive, more playing really, really heavily around the Ubers. There's a lot of focus on, gaining those advantages and maintaining those advantages. Just as important, it isn't just a case of getting that Uber advantage, it's conserving it, taking all those kind of cheeky points and those free bits here and there. Super, super important for the playstyle, and I think we will be going live here. So this is going to be ETF2L Season 32 Upper Bracket. Round 1, this is Se7en versus Feint Gaming going into this first map on Gullywash. This is going to be Se7en's pick. Watching both teams regular old roll out to mid, nothing too crazy going on. Smear playing towards floor and Big Dog, getting a little bit of damage. Looks like Feint want to be going up right side though. Thalash is going to be that first little engagement. A lot of damage on so many of these Feint players already, and the soldier aggression is looking really good for Se7en. 2 primes already to their name, and you see Ombrak, Ixie, Kunu, they're so far away. They're playing all the way towards what is actually Se7en's choke. This is such a difficult position for them to play to. Ixie's just getting minced down. Kunu's trying to run forward, trying to make something happen. He's getting floated. Ombrak, yeah, he's losing his life, and that's just a crushing 6-0 players there from Se7en.
Yeah, very unorthodox play there from Feint coming up with that right side mid immediately, but they didn't really get anything on the Cadus. He read it really well, denied them all from the high ground, but then just dropped off, and Polygon went behind to try and kill Raymond, but he just got completely killed immediately, and Cadus is just walking in. Ombrak still hasn't even spawned in there on last, so I said it was going to be a slow round here, but they're going to take it almost certainly right.
Oh my god!
At the point. And that was incredibly quick, almost a minute round. That was some TCM stuff, eepily.
Yeah, that was 1 minute, 4 seconds. I guess they must have heard you, dude. They must have heard you. They just didn't care at all. Okay. Right, that's 1 minute, 1 round, 1-0 for Se7en. And Tiger's already racking up the old 11 points. So I think he's feeling it today. Going into the second mid now. Desperately hoping to see something a little bit different here. We're not looking for none of those 10-minute games here. Smear this time running out towards choke. Looks like Faint's going to be playing a little bit more towards their side, but these soldiers! Captain and Stark obliterate Smear. These synced rockets looking so good, but the regress from Mathes, he's getting some good damage, getting some good position. You see now it's Faint's position that's going to be moving forward. They're getting so much damage towards this. Captain and Tiger going so weak. Both going to get cleaned up now. It's going to be Thalash and Raymond. They got to run away all through lobby. Yeah, straight onto last. They're going to be building up this Uber, so still looking okay in terms of Se7en's last hole, but that's the mid. Fate want to get right back into this game now.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there, it was a really nice, looked very nice looking double bomb from Captain and Stark there to kill Smear so quickly, but Stark did have to die for it, and Captain was kind of weak as well, whereas Mathers was able to get Cadus without even dying completely on his own, so that's kind of the difference there. Stark needing so much help to get Smear that even though the bomb was quite effective, they kind of committed too many resources to it, so really pretty strong mid there from Fate. Really nice to see them coming back, going back for the more orthodox mid, but just having their bombers be a lot more effective, so they're now on Se7en's last.
Exactly, so going to be seeing our first little bit of some stalemate. We got some of these Faint players moving towards River, just kind of peeking, prodding, taking some heals. Decent position for their soldiers to take here, but I mean, there's a level 3, there's a pyro right now for Se7en. Looks like Se7en's going to be having no interest at all in doing anything too quickly. As per usual, you know, they gain around, they slow things down, they're a little bit taking more of a relaxed pace right now.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see that Cadus is currently on the what's it even called? The loose cannon, which is used to be a lot more OP back in the day, but it's still decent for denying Ubers. It's nice to see some variation. You don't often see that with the Demoman primary. Generally, the Iron Bomber is just what you go for. But yeah, not too much going on right now. They're just rethinking in lobby, feeling like they're posturing towards River, maybe trying to get Scout under, something like that. Cadus does have point stick though, so it's going to be quite difficult for them to get too much going if they try and do that.
Yeah, I feel like they're just taking this opportunity, peeking and prodding. Ixie's going to be in water, but taking that early bit of damage, so in terms of taking one of these scrappy 1v1s towards the point, I mean, he's got to be pretty fearful of Stark. One rocket and he will actually go down here, but he's taking it, he's prodding, he's getting a lot of cap time already, and actually, forcing a couple players towards the point. This jump in, oh my lord, okay, Polygon gets so far through a gun, through a pyro, forcing Raymond, so oh my god, even Tiger's getting picked up by these traps from Smear, so this is looking really good for Feint.
Yeah, really clever blind there from Smear to kill Tiger and Pyro. I really have no idea how Polygon managed to get in through the sentry. That was very strange. He got 3 rockets off, I think, on Raymond. But there we really saw Cadus had his 6 on point, right? So it should have been safe, but he missed the det when the Stark wasn't really ready to defend it because he thought it was safe, and that meant there was so much distraction, I think, on point that they kind of forgot about Polygon coming in. So really nicely played by Feint to just, I want to call them Swift because this roster used to be Swift last season, but no, this is Feint, and they're coming in from River here, eepily.
Yeah, they got both soldiers, they got a scout there nice and buffed up, about 40% advantage, so going to be using in now. A little bit denied from the start, guns towards 4, there's pirates towards point. It's going to be a scout trying to get onto Cadus, but Kunu not quite getting it done. He's going to get taken out super early. Smear dying as well now, and it's actually 3 frags, and none of the 7 players are going down at all. Mathis jumps in, takes down Raymond with 2 crispy rockets, and Ombrak desperately just trying to escape on Big, or trying to escape with his life, but the chase wasn't on. Starkey still might actually be able to pick him up here if he's got his hearing on.
If he can find him, I think he can though. He's caught in Big though, he's going to go down. Really smart play from Stark. It was a really pretty clutch frag from Mathis onto Raymond there, just to save that fight. But really, the deciding thing for that last push was Captain was behind. It Shutter, they opted for the river push, but so they had no control of lobby really. Captain came behind, hit 3 juicy rockets on Smear, then killed Ixie as well, and was just completely uncontested, just kind of destroying them from the top right area. So not such a clinical last push there from Feint.
No, not really. With this super late death from Ombrak, he's actually just only spawning, so none of these Feint players in terms of mid have any heals at all. Smear actually nearly even dies on choke there. He gets a nice little surf, but he will live, he will get out, and it is only about a 25% advantage for Se7en here. I feel like they might be looking to peek towards choke with this damage. They know that Feint aren't forward, they've peeked, they've got that info. So Captain's going to be jumping on through, taking some space for his team. They know that at this point, I feel like Se7en's just going to be looking to just try and take this for free.
And Mathis will go for the sack now. Gets a little bit denied by Captain. Going to get 1 nice rocket, but he will die really quickly to Thalash. I really didn't like that though from Feint. The Ubers, as you can see, are so even now. They only had a 20% disadvantage. They could have held so much closer, but they let all of Se7en just through the choke, only doing that 1 sack, but not really getting any spam on them at all, which meant it was just so free for Se7en to just wander in and say, oh look, they're not here. And then they took the point for free. So kind of, you know, a bit of a bit pussy play there from Feint.
Yeah, super conservative, and honestly, it's not even looking particularly good for them now. Starkey gets his frag towards Polygon, this gun's going down as well. There's 2 7 players towards water, and I mean, it's going to start looking really dodgy. They're starting to play towards point, they're getting a lot of players down there. Stark still staying alive, they're taking down these other frags on the side of the fight now, and still no Ubers have been used at all, and Stark's just going to cap it from behind them.
Yeah, just that 1 pick was just too much for... With all that pressure from Se7en, it was too much for Feint to deal with, really, because they pressured just so well. They had a player in every single part of the map basically doing something. And when you're 5v6, there's just not too much you can do, as long as every single player on Se7en, as they were pressuring water. Caders was a balcony, getting 6 on the point, and there was just too much for Feint to deal with. The comms was some in chaos there.
Yeah, classic Se7en kind of play there, I feel, go into this mid. We have deep soldier bombs from both sides, but they're kind of faking, peeking and prodding, just doing whatever. But again, it's another mid where Feint seems to be the guys taking the early damage. Pipes raining across the map, taking down Eemes. 2 frags being traded either way now, so I mean, it's just turning into a scrappy fight, and Se7en seem to be getting the most of it. I just don't understand how Feint are taking so much early damage.
Well, I mean, the captain, he bombed really deep, and he should have just been taking a ton of damage from both scouts, but he hit, I think, a couple of rockets under Kunu and Eemes, who were standing basically inside each other. It meant they were both about half HP right at the start of mid. Ombrak had to tank them, and, you know, Kidis committing over off that damage. He did die, but the bombs from Se7en were just so much more effective because they had so much more early damage. Just a really, really smart and crisp rockets there from captain.
So we're going to be seeing this big old Uber advantage on the side of Se7en once again. Kunu sniping, Eemes on an engineer, so they're going to want to at least make Se7en used to the shutter and try and, you know, deny them a little bit, get some kind of rotates and trust towards this gun and this pyro to at least make this more difficult for Se7en here. Uber's going to get used straight to shutter nice and early from Se7en, so this might be a decent opportunity for Feint. They can just keep this gun and pyro alive. It's going to be going down. It's going to be all about this rotate through spawn, where the Smear can stay alive on point, but he's getting pretty aggressive. Nearly gets taken down by that scout there, just about escape with his life. Captain's just going to be playing on this rim though, and you can see they force so many of these players towards the spawn, and it seems to be they can walk so far towards point without anything really happening. Now finally Feint can get out of spawn, but it's too little too late.
It's really just a beautifully clinical last push there from Se7en. They have the soldier taking the Uber who shoots the sentry, and then Cadis has so much ammo left to deny top right. That's all he needs to do. Heal up, they've got top right completely secure, completely safe, and then as soon as Feint come out of top left, they bomb straight into them, killing both scouts pretty early, and then they can just play point pretty efficiently. So they really need just clinical last push there, not letting anyone get behind, and doing exactly what they wanted to do, going through the motions and playing it pretty much perfectly.
Going into this mid now, we see another deep bomb. Mathis picking up captains, that's a good start, but it's Polygon. He's the one who went deep to begin with. He's taking a little bit of space, but the rebomb is on. Again, another Feint mid where it looks like they're trying to get some decent damage. Again, a lot of players. We have Smear going deep. He's trying to get onto Raymond. He takes him down. All just on Cadis on lobby.
Yeah, that was really, really nice from Matt there. Stark had gotten into the perfect position behind in choke, but with Captain down, Se7en couldn't really aggress onto them to help out Starky, so he basically just had to bomb Ombrak alone. Ombrak hit a nice surf, and he wasn't able to get the frag. So basically a 65 mid there from Feint, and they just kind of annihilate Se7en. So that's really, really nicely played by them, but they need to convert this last push, not let anyone get behind them in lobby if they're going to want to make it happen.
It's so important. It's interesting to see that Feint actually had the opportunity there to do exactly what Se7en did to them, walk through before even this medic was alive, but this is actually a solo Uber on a scout at this point. Smear only comes in right at the end. This pyro is alive. So many players towards Se7en. You can see how they've not been locked in, like shutter and into the spawn at all. They just have complete control over last. They can have their heavy. They can have their soldiers on the height. I mean, now Feint want to try to do something through shutter. They're distracting a little bit towards point. They're going to try and just... I mean, they've got so much damage to deal. It just doesn't look like they're really getting anywhere with this.
It's terrible positioning from all of Se7en. They're all pretty weak as well. Our captain's going to be very low in spawn. They're going to try and get back in, but in fact, Feint is unwilling to commit off that space and that damage, and actually, you know, they just completely didn't commit together. But Polygon gets in, gets the frag on Raymond right at the end there, as well as Captain. Some nice rockets. So that's going to even things out a little bit. Se7en going to still be able to. Oh, never mind.
My god.
Oh no.
Cadis runs all the way to mid. Spawn camping, 2 players down already. And more importantly, no one else can really leave the spawn here. This is going to make such a difference, and I feel like he might even want to go to second off this. Oh, please, don't let him do this. This is actually disgusting. He's single-handedly spawn camping an entire team right now. Ixie's going down again. He's all the way in the other team's lobby. You see, no one can really do anything on mid.
He's going to last, eepily.
Oh my god. This is disgusting. This is so keen. Start on last as well. I have no idea what's actually going on here. Polygon is jumping straight past them. He's still playing towards lobby. What? Did they just not realize? I mean, surely Se7en's combo has to get punished here.
This is actually really well played by Feint because they know there's just basically no one in front for Se7en. They can just push straight into them. Stark does trade with Ixie behind. Cadis is just completely alone and going to get fragged out. So that could have worked out kind of well, but Cadis is getting a bit too ambitious there. He needed more of his team to follow up from in front, not go behind with him, because there was no one to push them into him in lobby, basically. But now it's a small advantage for Ombrak, and Cadis is still going to be down, so they should be able to get through choke here if they want to.
I mean, they can, but you see both these scouts on Se7en, they're going to run straight through. They don't care that it's equal Ubers. They're just going to try and make something happen here. They're getting a lot of damage, a lot of kind of players being forced back here, but Smear's confident. You know, he's calm, he's controlled, he's playing towards Choke, and
really nice play from Smear to Velash, actually.
Oh my god, that's so easily could have gone super bad there, but does just like even things out. The rest of the players from Fate, they're going to try and move towards Choke, and they're just going to get punished as soon as they try and do it. I feel like Fate had a bit of an opportunity there to maybe rotate, go somewhere else, not the choke one that he knows Se7en's watching, and now they're actually getting forced all the way back towards their own choke. You see so much space being taken by Stark and Captain with each of these jumps. It's exactly what we said, it's efficiency in this soldier play.
And I mean, we mentioned before the game, both teams quite conservative normally, but there, you know, just some kind of chaotic stuff happening from both sides. The Caders go for the most unexpected play ever, really, going all the way behind, and things have kind of evened out. Se7en back on mid, but some, you know, maybe Se7en getting a bit ahead of themselves, a 3-0 up, trying to make some slightly more crazy plays than expected, but with Feint overextending a little bit into Se7en's choke, it is now basically a reset on mid, so yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be all on which team can kind of, you know, develop some kind of little plan. There's opportunities for little sacks, little kind of flank plays, little whatever. Just as I say that, Tiger does manage to get behind through lower, so there's a little bit of distraction on choke and big door. I mean, such a well-oiled machine from Se7en when they peek and prod, allows them to get a scout all the way behind, and honestly, I don't think there's anyone really in the game who can feel that comfortable going back and taking a 1v1 versus Tiger, so they kind of just got to leave him there. Yeah,
what are the odds here, eepily? They take a trade with Thash and Captain, and then they jump Captain up top. Do you think it's likely?
I feel like it's pretty likely. X is actually in a decent position for it, though, if he does want to stay on up there, keeping an eye out for Tiger. But honestly, I feel like they can just as easily go for a little bit of a fake trade here, you know, try and get even Starky in behind, honestly. You see how much of this flank is committed to trying to get on a Tiger. They've got 3 players who are basically nowhere near the fight. Tiger comes behind Polygon, he gets that first frag, and he's out alive. So much space being made on choke as well. I mean, Se7en just looks like they can just start waddling through the choke point here. There's nothing really to stop them.
Yeah, they're getting in. It's really much better positioning here from Swift, but they need to get the damage on them as they enter the choke. And Smear is actually locking people out pretty effectively, but they're going to be able to get healed up if they don't play too close. Raymond's trying to come in now, but Smear's actually done a really good job of blocking out this choke point. Cadis and Raymond can't come in. Thanos is going to be isolated. Tiger's in behind. Gets onto Ombrak, gets so much damage, but Ombrak is going to have balls of steel there, not popping. And that's actually really, really nicely played by Smear, just locking out the heavy classes. And the scouts tried to poke in, but they were just isolated and got taken down. Really nicely played by Smear.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he didn't commit to the frags, he didn't commit to the debt, he just, you know, kept locking it down, and as a result, they pick up 2 scouts and then trade for a soldier as well. Now, though, the Se7en Uber still playing close on the choke while Feint's trying to move through big door, so there's 3 players for Se7en. They'll be using this Uber. This is going to be a trade. Bracco's pretty weak there before actually using his own. And you see, I mean, Cadis and Raymond, they're so easy to get caught out here. Yeah, Raymond's going to get juggled up. He's getting taken down. The rest of Se7en's going to try and move forward, try and make something happen. As always, though,
huge
the damage is good.
Oh the damage is so good. I mean, the trade was... Cadis got so much damage in the trade that even though it was kind of worse when they lost Raymond in the end, the fact that it was a solo and he just got to hit so many players there, they were just so grouped up on Feint. They needed to leave a heal up on second, but so much damage to them, and Captain hitting a nice air shot, and Se7en could just collapse after that damage, even though Raymond was dead.
It shows, you know, even these situations which maybe, you know, theoretically should be slightly better for Feint. I mean, Se7en just has all this fragging power, and they could just kind of, they can make it on happy. But this could be about an equal Uber situation, so obviously rounds up still for Se7en, but it doesn't look like we're going to see too much more kind of storming through people's last just for the time being. But I feel like right now Feint needs to kind of take control of something, you know, gain some kind of advantage, start looking to do something a little bit more proactive, but not when they're losing Smear on Shutter like that.
No, not at all. And this definitely opens up the floodgates for Se7en. They're going to be pressuring with all their players like we've seen. Cadis is quite aggressive in River here. He's actually kind of weak, so it's going to be slow them down a little bit now, but Raymond is probably going to be rotating River, and I expect Se7en to go for some kind of point play here as Smear is still spawning. It's going to be much harder for them to defend that point easily.
It is. As I said, not having those stickies on point, it makes it so much less reliable. We did see Tiger trying to make something happen, but he will get taken down. Stark now going to be jumping again. Some nice damage. We'll trade at least with Kunu, but doesn't look like anything else is going to happen for Se7en for the time being. They're going to chill with their players a little bit outside towards Shutter and kind of see, okay, Feint, let's see what you've got. Let's see if you can make something happen here.
Yeah, it was nicely played by Stark to salvage what was kind of a questionable bomb, but he hit, I think, 3 fantastic rockets onto Kunu there, so just kind of trading with the pocket scout when he shouldn't have been able to. But yeah, Se7en unable to make too much of that push there. The Tiger tried to get under to get onto the point, as I mentioned, but I think it was Polygon, or maybe Matt was just ready for him and gave him the 2 rockets, so pretty smart defense on Feint, but really defense is not what they need right now. They need some kind of way back into this round, because if they go 4-0 down, it's going to be really, really rough for them. As they do pick up Thelash, this could be the start of that eepily.
There we go, sniper v sniper fights. Turns out Kunu's just going to get his big old buff, but actually, I mean, in their over-aggression, they walk all the way into lobby, do super early. Smear gets caught out as well. I mean, Ombrak's dying is I have absolutely no idea. They seem to walk forward and use, based off on that one sniper frag, and I mean, it's super dodgy now for Fate. They have no buffs whatsoever. You see Starkey moving towards River as well. Polygon in this little hiding position. Not really a lot he can do there if he just gets rushed. Tiger's going to be getting in, but thankfully Kunu's savings for his team almost, I feel, there. He gets his headshot, and these players jumping towards point will get cleaned up now. It's going to be Stark. Yeah, he'll be the last casualty. Captain and Raymond have no real choice but to just kind of back out lobby here.
There was quite a heavily committed dry push there from Se7en. They had a decent Uber advantage they wanted to play off it, but they opted to go off the Smear and Ombrak picks. But really, they got the spawns so early. Koff got that nice sniper pick that was just too much for them to deal with. They do not even have an Uber advantage now since Captain wasn't with Ombrak, and actually, I mean, with Raymond. So they're going to be coming in really aggressively here through Big Door eepily.
Yep, they've got this one player advantage. They want to make the most out of it. Deep bombs on Polygon, but he just gets cleaned up way too quickly. And now, player advantage is going the exact opposite way. Stark almost traded with that scout there. I mean, they're doing so much damage every time Fate want to try and move up. You just see the combo. This kind of all these players, Smear taking so much damage, but we are at least seeing this over aggression from Se7en. I mean, it's so scrappy, but surely at this point, it's just Fate's opportunity to just heal up, to just walk through steadily, take control at this point. I mean, yeah, okay. I think they're just going to look to stabilize here. Then as soon as I see that, we have Soldiers jumping in. We have a force as well on Ombrak. How does he even live that long?
I have no idea why. So the Fate were like 4v3 there, but they just let Thalash run around with the beam and just run and take space, and then the Captain got the force for free. So Fate just not really playing their superior positioning correctly. Kata's kind of fed before, but they managed to take so much position off at Se7en that it didn't really matter. And now they do have a fully advantage after that. That force was really quite a soft force from Captain. He should not have been able to jump into 4 players. I'd get that, but Thalas just made so much space for him.
Oh my lord!
That happened, and Captain winning a fantastic 1v1 with Polygon behind there. And Se7en are just going to have a completely free road into second now, and the Uber advantage probably not going to get it for last, but they could actually push off these picks if they're really quick about it.
I mean, they could. It was mentioned in pre-game, this kind of soldier comparison. I feel like right now Se7en's really showing what they got to play with here. Like you said, Uber advantage not going to be significant enough to try and walk through here, but they're still going to be using anyway, getting some decent damage as per usual. But the trade comes out. Ombrak keeping his merry gang of gamers alive. And it's only really a gun that's been dealt with in all of that Uber. Polygon though, he peaks so far forward, he's going to get taken down as well. So the 6v5 repush might be on from Se7en. Looks like they want to try and start moving through top left. If they can get this damage, Tiger actually gets all the way through low. He's getting straight on the Ombrak, getting some good damage already, not quite hitting his shots, but he will clean it up. Stark moving towards point as well. They're dragging so many players forward. All of Fate are just completely collapsing and it's getting mulched.
Yeah, and here we really see the problem of having 8 stickies on point from Smear. He was so afraid of the point play from Stark, I think, or maybe with the Uber advantage that he thought they would have had, that he didn't have any sticks denying the people in front of him, really, and Tiger just gets in for free with that 65, as we mentioned, just overloading them pretty much and getting the frag onto Ombrak, and then it kind of all went downhill from there, so kind of not prioritizing his defensive stickies correctly in that situation.
I feel like it's really showing, Se7en's kind of pointing out every little flaw in Fate's game plan here, and you see, this feels like one of those mids Fate can't really get through. They lose Smear instantly. It has to be so good from this bomb towards Polygon.
Oh, huge bomb from Polygon.
Get these rockets, so super important, but cleaned up just as quickly as it takes them to jump now. So it is still going to be a 7 mid. There's still a lot of players on the side of Fate. Cadus as well should be dying towards lobby here, but he'll actually even trade.
Cadus is doing some very odd things this game, but it's working out, I suppose. Tiger's going to have to leave Detroit right now, but really that mid, it came down to, well, Cadus got such great damage. He got an air pipe, a pre-fire air pipe onto Mathis, who was jumping from Big Door. The his bomb was just completely useless. Poly to get a nice bomb in right at the end, but Tiger getting the frag on Smear so early just meant that it was kind of a free mid with Se7en, although that bomb from Poly did kind of salvage it, and Feint are going to be coming in through here, but Smear will die Thalash.
Yeah, and the second you see that Thalash sniper on the field, everyone is going to be that little bit more scared. This advantage is still up, but oh my god, thank god Tiger gets punished there. He just looked like he was going to run through a choke point into 4 people and get that frag, so it will be 5v5. The sniper is still up. There is about a 35% Uber advantage for Feint, but I mean, they're looking pretty scared right now.
Yeah, they really are. Kata's playing super close. He's going to jump out, trying to get that early trap down. And actually, they're forced through the choke, which is really questionable. Kuno going down as well. Super is pretty much a car crash right now. Polygon's almost certainly going to die as well. He's super weak. And a guy to Starkey and choke, maybe? Yeah, nice frag from Starkey. And actually now, with that really early force there, Captain's going to go down to Smear, but Se7en could just walk into mid right now for free, and they're just blobbing up and taking it.
Yeah, it just looks like there's going to be nothing really at all to contest them. Going to be an absolutely enormous advantage for Raymond. He's just going to be looking to waddle forward, and I mean, there's a lot on the shoulders of Kunu right now, who is going to be sniping from, I believe, Shutter. So you can see both these choke points pretty well, but I mean, once people start to pressure him, there's not really a lot he can do. You can't really just walk out through the Shutter and go for a cheeky peek. So he's just got to back up here. Again, another super clinical push in terms of taking second for free from Se7en. And I mean, they do still have just enough advantage to push if they want, but Kunu has activated a little bit, taken down Starkey, so maybe this will slow things down just a second for Se7en.
Yeah, and we really see, I mean, obviously Se7en and Cadis in particular have been going for some like weirdly aggressive play. We saw Tiger running through choke there, and some of it's working, some of it's not, but I really think, as I mentioned before, I mean, Feint wanted to, you know, get ahead in the game, kind of make sure that it's not as slow and on their terms, but they haven't really been able to do that. They haven't been able to like tame Se7en and stop them going for this kind of wacky plays that they might do if they kind of feel superior and kind of comfortable in this match. And at the moment, Se7en not really looking too uncomfortable or whatever the situation.
Not at all. It just seems like there's no real position where Feint's felt comfortable at all. We do actually see Feint this time pushing really aggressive towards River. It does look like they're going to be not even taking a trade. What a headshot from Kunu. That's so important here. And he's even picking a little bit towards the lobby here. He will get cleaned up eventually by Captain though, but Captain also loses his life. So 2 players down on side of Se7en and a sniper up, which, I mean, as long as Feint could try and play this close, it feels like they could have equalized it, but Polygon is going to be taken down as well. So it's just trading frags here and there every 3 seconds, and Feint kind of realized that, you know, it was looking good, but ultimately it's not really enough to push off of.
Yeah, you can see Kunu's idea there. He wants to try and get the hero peek onto Raymond, but just getting kind of crushed by the soldiers. Frags traded up and down in River. Smear's going for the aggressive trade into the lobby now, so Feint really trying to make something happen right now. There's a lot of flashing has happened in this trade, and Raymond's going to have to leave, so they have taken lobby pretty successfully. Cadis is going to die, and this is a very scrap fight now, eepily.
Oh, it's super scrappy. You see all this damage, but actually Tiger's just ran all the way straight to last, and he's just going to cap it. Completely behind them again, and I mean, that's just going to be a 5-0 for Se7en.
Yep, it's over. I mean...
Okay, I feel like
a rough one for Feint.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to talk about how these teams play, you know, the one thing they're looking for at all times, I feel like it's control. If you feel like you can be in control of, you know, not necessarily with a significant round advantage or anything like that, if you feel like you're in control, you can dictate the pace of the game, that's what both these teams are going for. And I feel like Feint basically just didn't get that at all that game.
Yeah, not at all. As we can look at these logs now, I think, well, it's nice on the one hand looking at Smear's logs. He's doing 322 DPM, which is pretty good to see. But when you go ahead and look at his damage taken stat, which is actually higher than that, you can see the problem. He's trying to do a ton for his team, right? Taking those aggressive trades in lobby, just doing, you know, a lot of ballsy stuff. But because he's getting focused down so hard doing it, it's not really working out too well. And what you'd rather see with a little bit less damage, a lot less damage taken, and a better KD like Cadis. So 16 for 8 there, just kind of not really too uncomfortable with too many points in the game. He went for a lot of weird plays, but most of the time he would either trade a frag or, you know, get quite a few frags with only 8 deaths. So it's actually really nice demo gameplay. Actually, the bottom in the server, apart from the medics. So really nicely played by Cadis.
Yeah, I definitely feel like from Smear's point of view, he was so much more pressure in every situation. You know, he couldn't even peek a choke point, it felt like, you know, without 2 fully buffed 185 scouts just running at him, and, you know, even if not killing him, like getting him really, really low. It just felt like it was so rough for him to really get anything kind of consistent in terms of these holds and these little pushes. I mean, when it comes to pure fragging power, I mean, we kind of mentioned a little bit about it before, but Tiger up there, 25 frags, 8 more than anyone else on the server, and I feel like that showed. He seemed to, you know, a few times he got, like, you know, really kind of punished as he tried to just over-aggress for a choke point. But other than that, he felt like he had some pretty free reign a lot of the time here.
Yeah, definitely. And then if we go ahead and look at the flank, particularly from Feint, they're having a really rough time, both on less than 200 DPM, Ixie and Mathis, just not really able to make too much happen in the game, just always kind of, I don't know, I guess getting maybe out the end and just coming into fights in situations that they weren't really happy with. It's fairly rare to see the Roma getting a positive KD on Gully Wash, so Starkey having that, and obviously Tiger with the top frag, 25 kills, 13 deaths, really nicely cleared by him. So the flank of Se7en really coming through in that map.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, whenever you see logs for like a 5-0, you know, you can get an idea of what happened there, but the logs don't show everything. I feel like, you know, a lot of that, I mean, of course the 7 players are going to end up with decent stats because, you know, they were the team that was in control, you know. Did they have the control because of the fragging, or was it, you know, they could frag because they were in more control? I feel like, you know, a lot more of it came down to these initiations and some of this kind of positional play. Like I said, that really important time where Feint, you know, they had the players, they had the position, but they just kind of gave it up and let too many of these 7 players walk through choke point. I feel like going into Snakewater, they've got to be really thinking about how, you know, that game didn't need to be quite as one-sided as it was. You know, they had opportunities, but they just need to kind of tighten up their play, you know, play how, I mean, you know, we've seen them play really well as a team before. We need Feint playing how Feint should be playing.
Yeah, I think quite telling is the difference in the last pushes. I mean, both teams had a last push within the first 10 minutes. The 7 one was just very clinical, not letting anyone get behind, as I mentioned, taking the top right, doing everything completely by the book like they do in every single last push they've ever done, but it works so effectively, whereas Feint going for the unorthodox river push, and they just, well, I think they have more than one, I don't know, but the one right early in the game, they just let Captain get behind and completely destroy them, and they just weren't executing that as well. They had some decent mid-fights, you know, and they had, you know, definitely opportunities to do stuff before they went so far behind, but they weren't able to take advantage of the situations that 7 were able to capitalize on so cleanly.
So in terms of kind of moving past, you know, Gullywash, I'm sure the teams, well, I'm sure mainly Feint are going to be sitting there wanting to take a bit of a mental reset. Going into Snakewater now, what do you think is going to be some of these key players to look at? You obviously said about how important these soldiers are in terms of Gullywash mids. Obviously, Snakewater as a map, it's another map where there's some opportunities for some good initiation, some kind of big bombs, some big kind of distractions from soldiers. But is it those players you're going to be looking at in terms of this mid, or is it going to be a little bit more different?
In terms of the mid, definitely, I think it's whether or not the soldier bombs go well. Obviously, it's probably going to be the scouts going to be the ones fragging out, but it can be quite a lottery as to whether or not you bomb into a scout to our left where he's not there, or, you know, that kind of thing. So who out of the soldiers is going to have the greater coordination? But one person I really want to focus on, if Feint gets a last, is really going to be all about Smear, because last pushing Snake as a demo is you have to do a lot of stuff right. He has quite a lot of important decisions you have to make and make correctly. You know, when to take a point, when to go aggressive into them, and 7 are really quite good at, you know, making that quite tough for you as a demo. So, and I think in the past, actually, on the very first match of the season, Feint versus Swift, they had a lot of really, really quite terrible last pushes where Smear would go one way, Koff would go the other with the Uber. It would look like they had absolutely no idea what they were doing. And hopefully, you know, they've worked on that over the season, and they're going to have a lot more of an idea before the last pushes of what they're going to do, and they're going to be able to make the decisions correctly once they begin.
I agree that coordination of kind of the Smear and the rest of his combo, it's something which, yeah, we have seen in previous weeks, sometimes isn't all there, and a team like 7's really, they can just absolutely tear a team apart just based on that one fact alone. But I think we're going to be going live in a couple seconds, so I feel like our predictions got a little bit ruined for Gullywash, but what are you going to predict on here, Eemes?
Well, since it's Feint's map, I think it's definitely going to be closer. I think it's going to be, I'm going to go for the Feint favoured one again. I think Feint are going to take this 3-2. It's going to be really close, it's going to be back and forth, and I'm crossing my fingers that Feint have worked, you know, watch the demos for their last pushes, and they know exactly what they're going to do. Going to be clinical, going to have Koff play points, Smear sticking them off, and they're going to play it really well. So here's hoping it's going to be 3-2 to Feint.
Yeah, well, my immediate reaction would be something more like a 2-2. I feel like it's still going to be hard for Feint, but I mean, it's going to be all about seeing what happens here in this first mid. This is going to be map 2 of our upper bracket, round 1, ETF2L season 32 Premiership. This is the playoffs. 7 versus Feint. We have Edison Smear just peeking, prodding, tagging each other a little bit. No significant damage just yet. You see the top left position from Mathes. He's going to be just peeking again, looking for his opportunity to try and bomb through, but it's going to be so difficult with Tiger getting nice and aggressive towards the top. You see right now, it's super slow plays. Starkey's going to jump in behind. He's getting cleaned up fairly easily now. Polygon takes his opportunity to get some height. As long as he can get an arrow here, this should be looking pretty good here, but in terms of height for his team, it is this rebound from Polygon actually picking up both scouts. That's so important. You see, it's going to be Captain dying as well super late. Raymond's going to be the only guy alive, and he's actually even getting chased at this point. Polygon's absolutely just owning right now. Smear's going to get the frag at the end, but that was all on Polygon that mid.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic mid from Poly there. And we saw Starkey went behind all the way from Kitchen. 7 were just waiting for his play to pay off, but both scouts knew about it completely immediately as soon as he jumped. Cadus tried to push over, but he hit really no damage off the distraction, and he was overextended. basically all of 7 were weak at that point. 65 and Polygon just takes the opportunity. There was no Cadus to spam top, so he just walks over and crushes both scouts. Now we see the famous last push. Smear jumping super deep here onto the right side.
Yeah, they can take this position towards point. Sticky's just only going up on the side of Cadus, but he's going to get taken down as well. So many more players to Feint. This is going to be such a slow little push for them. They're going to start playing people towards point. Absolutely nothing Thalash can do. He's too slow. That is a swift 1-0 for Feint.
Yeah, definitely. Really nicely just going super fast there from Feint onto that last Se7en. Not really too set up. Smear catching some people out on the right spawn, and then just they barreled into them on left so aggressively, and then Smear basically did about 500 damage in that push, which is essentially winning it for them. So, as I mentioned, you know, they've been working on their last pushes, so they've been doing that really effectively. We'll see what Stark tries to do on this mid, if he can have a more effective flank, perhaps.
Yeah, it did feel last time that initiation for 7 just didn't work, and then Polygon just got to absolutely annihilate Smear this time. He's the one taking super early damage. Captain's going to jump behind. 2 Swift Rockets take down Ombrak, so the rest of 7, they're going to be playing together. They're going to be just bulking up here as both the soldiers on Feint are going to jump through, but no real damage has been done at all to Raymond. He's almost even going to reverse it to Matters here, but you just see how easily they just focus down every single one of these Feint players. And just, you know, the second Feint get anything good going, this is going to be 7 with a swift mid into a huge Uber advantage, pushing last in just a few moments.
Yeah, definitely. It was just basically they won that mid off a fantastic captain bond. He went kind of past Polygon, he was up top, but managed to not get denied by him at all, and gets the T-Rocket onto Ombrak really effectively, and then it's just kind of really easy. Raymond juking the soldiers pretty well, but you know, they just played heals and won that. We'll be pushing here from the right side. Cadus not taking the Uber immediately, captain in it, and they're going to be walking in now eepily.
Yep, taking low position towards point, same thing again. Apart from Thatcher going to play point a little bit earlier. Ty though, he's just going to jump on. He actually could have capped that completely himself, but he goes for the 1v1, possibly even losing that fight for his team, but he wins the 1v1 anyway. But oh my god, these rockets from Polygon just about coming out. It's all going to be on Starkey now, no health at all. He's going to get taken down, and I mean, I feel like that was a one last for 7, but people are getting a little bit too frag hungry right now.
Yeah, Tiger was so close to capping that out, in fact, but no, there was just much pressure on the point there from Feint. Really nicely played by them. A really clinical last defense. We see Thalash actually died on the point, which is not what we want to see. You want to just see him, you know, take a flash when he's about to die and live. Okay, just getting a really sneaky, sticky trap on coming out of catwalk here. But in fact, Ombrak has opted to go lower, so he's going to be safe. And Feint just taking mid here, pretty much for free, guys. Pretty much no contesting from 7. Although Thalash is going to peek from Saw. Maybe we're going to get the shot now.
No, he won't quite hit it, you know, he's sometimes made out of magic, but not today. The online magic isn't showing, but, I mean, the time it's taken Feint to get in, and, you know, they have taken control of mid for free, but now the Uber advantage is basically dwindled to effectively nothing. So all that's really happened is 7 managed to delay them just long enough, so that they've now got an equal Uber situation, they've got a sniper, they've already got this off-class to try and make something happen, so all still kind of looking pretty good for kind of either team. It's going to be all about how they get this kind of initiation. You see both soldiers and sniper playing towards this right side, really playing quite heavily around Thalash, trying to get some kind of pick here, but I mean, Feint have no interest in feeding to him at this point.
Yeah, it was, yeah, so we are just back in the stalemate. He's not going to be going for that sack, but after that mid-fight, well, what could have been a mid defense from 7, it was just kind of unfortunate for them to see they're not playing any defense really with their soldiers. Thalash has just got a nice headshot onto Mathers from lower. He's actually completely alone, so if someone rushed him, he could actually die, but Cadus is going to go and help him now. And this is actually 7 like maybe want to come in here now from Saw, eepily.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason why not. You see, there's so many of these Feint players that have been just forced super far back. They committed Polygon super deep on lower, and I mean, with that distraction, Captain jumps in, doesn't quite get the frag, but not too bad really. Polygon actually should be dying as well, so yeah, he's actually going to even kill himself with self-damage at this point. So 4 players up on the side of Feint. They're going to be playing towards this point. Looks like they can take this trade if they want, but there's the ever-present threat of Thalash. Early use, it's going to be from Ombrak and Smear. They will take down Tiger, but I mean, Smear's, oh my god, he's so keen. He actually gets the he gets the force here somehow, and he's even, oh, I thought he could have maybe taken down Thalash there, but somehow really weird use from 7. They haven't even taken much position towards this mid point at all. There's no reason why Feint can't try and fight this, especially with a sniper on the side of 7, but it seems like they're really slow about it. Both the soldiers are taking so much damage, they're going to jump deep to try and get some kind of frag on the sniper or this medic, but they're not really achieving anything much. Mathers does pick up Starkey now in this later fight, but Tiger's out to appear behind him and just one-shot him, so mid's going to go the way of 7, and I mean, I don't know about you, Eemes, that felt like a position where Feint, you know, they had a reason to fight that, but they just a little bit too slow.
Well, it was a really nice bomb from Captain onto the high ground. He didn't actually kill anybody, but both soldiers just jumped super deep after that because they had no position to stand on up top, particularly with the demo man spamming them off that as well. And with that advantage, basically just no position for Feint to just sit in and spam. The soldiers had to commit, and they didn't really get anything at all, just trying to Thalash sniping and Tiger coming in from behind as a spawner. So it's a pretty nice mid take. It was kind of a soft pot from Raymond, honestly. He should have been able to milk that, but you know, he's opting for the conservative pop there, but they were able to take that just with that demo man pick, basically. So it's a pretty nice mid take, I guess.
Yeah, so we're still going to have Thalash sniping here, taking down Polygon. We do have Kunu sniping on the other side, playing a little bit closer towards lower. He's making sure he's fully buffed, but there's one player down. This gun down as well. It's going to be an opportunity for someone on 7 to maybe just kind of jump into far left or far right. It's going to be Starkey jumping and gets one rocket toward Ombrak. He's going to force him so easily, it feels. Ombrak not quite getting the surf that he wanted, and the rest of 7's just going to dodge completely out of last. Apart from Cadus, who's just decided to live and drop down now.
Yeah, that was really poor play from Ombrak, honestly. He didn't have a scout up, so there was an NG, but his sentry had gone down, and Koff was on sniper, and he was playing in pretty much the worst position on the map, which is at the bottom of the stairs. So Stark, with the easiest form of his life, he juggled him into a wall immediately. Ombrak should have been playing much safer there. He knew he was going to get bumped.
Actually, in all of this, somehow Feint just trying to peek forward and do whatever. They lose 2 frags. Uber's now getting used from 7. They're going to be walking through. Cadus is going to be his opportunity to jump through, and he's forcing so many players towards spawn. It's only Smith that can do anything to contest the point, but he is somehow just about managing to live here. He'll get cleaned up super late, and 3 players left on Feint. It should just be 7's opportunity to kind of pick these remaining players apart, focus down these frags. Ixie's going to be the first to go. Kuno as well, going super weak, but yeah, the bombs are coming in. It's going to be all soldiers all the way. Frags taken, and this is going to be an equalizer now for 7.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, Tiger just got so much cap time in that last push. K just pushed so many players into spawn, got a lot of damage as well, that there was really not too much that Feint could have done after they lost those players. Just really nice, just playing heals basically from Thalash and Tiger after that fight. So pretty clinical last push there from 7. This mid, you know, anything could happen now, eepily. Game's back even.
We're back in it, like I said, equal rounds, and I feel like Feint are going to feel a little bit put off. 7 are kind of resting control of this game again. You see another one of these mids where no one's jumping super big, super early. It seems to be the kind of war of attrition when it comes to height. Both soldiers from 7. Captain does get massively extra, but he's somehow even going to live here. He does get cleaned up right at the end, but it's still soldiers being traded. You see how far back Ombrak and Smear are. Kuno as well, they're being forced all the way out, and even when it looks like a 7 player is going to get taken down, they're still ending up trading here, and that, I feel like that mid was just positioning all the way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see both soldiers traded from both teams, but what's crucial is that the soldiers are traded in an area which is really far back for Feint. So even though Stark does trade with Mathis in the end, the fight is happening where Feint are just in a really rubbish position, and they just have to basically back out into their sword because of that, because Cadus can just spam them out.
Yeah, it's such a good position as Demoman. If you can get onto that point, you can see so many different angles, and it's a perfect distance to detonate stickies as well. It's such a strong position, and yeah, you know, you can win mid just off that kind of positioning. So we do now have Equilibrium, a little bit of a stalemate. We see Feint just kind of setting themselves up a moment, not quite in that perfect position. Cadus actually already starting to peek a little bit, get some position for Captain here. He's going to be a full 300. Looks like he wants to try and do something. Polygon's actually going to jump straight to those stickies, so he gets taken down. The scout as well going super weak, and Captain's now going to be a little bit on the back lines. It's so dodgy now for some of these players. They know they'll get pincered if they lose track of these 7 players, even just in the littlest bit. Yeah, Captain still playing towards Cheese. Tiger all the way behind. Starkey pressuring here and there. And this is, I feel like, it's classic 7 right now. They're pressuring from every single angle at the same time. You can see how uncomfortable this is for Feint. They're having to look absolutely everywhere. These soldiers jumping in back and forth, taking no real damage either in all of this. Tiger still on the back lines. There's still that constant threat for Feint. They have absolutely no idea what's going on, but they know that these 7 players are going to walk in any second now.
Feint actually have weathered the storm pretty well. They just played as a blob, just safe on that point there, you know, looking in all directions, making sure they couldn't get found. Captain's going to come in now, going to get Ombrak super weak. Ombrak's always got force. He was 7 HP. That's actually a pretty good pop, I think. I'm assuming he did that before he took the full damage, so unlucky from Ombrak there, but it's better than dropping to full damage. But yeah, finally that force coming in. I think Ombrak must have been weak already because he got down so weak just from 1 rocket. But really nice force there from Captain after that. Really, you know, scary pressure play from 7 with so many players in so many places.
It was. I mean, in all of that, somehow Tiger actually manages to run all the way out lower, so there's no longer this threat. But honestly, it might not even be that Feint knows that. They might not know that there's that player not behind anymore, so it might be a little bit of risk. 7 in classic 7 fashion is going to be walking through, trying to take this one for free, not looking to be using any Uber or losing any players at all, and it looks like Feint are just happy to give that to him at this point. But I mean, 30% advantage. Cadus is moving through lower. Thalash is with him as well, so they're getting this Uber out and so much damage towards Smear, but 2 players get dropped there. That's Captain and Thalash both dying super early. Cadus as well, he will take down Ombrak, so Raymond does have this opportunity to build up an Uber advantage for his team if he can get out through lower, but so many of these Feint players are going to look to try and make something happen here. At least bare minimum, they'll be taking control of point, but Kuni wants to go for something a little bit more.
Oh, he's going to go for it, but he's actually just going to head all the way back to point now. And it's a decent advantage for Se7en. They should be able to push this back in, but really the last push there, just Smear getting a really nice trap kill onto Captain. He would have died if Captain had actually been alive, obviously, but getting the frag meant that there was no one to clean him up. Cadis only able to get the frag onto
Oh my god!
But in fact, Raymond has gone down to a blind net from Smear, so Smear really just coming out strong with the sticky traps here.
I mean, looks like the old man at TF2, he's, you know, his noggin is still working. They're getting some frags now, they're getting some players. Cadis is going to be dying as well, so no real stickies to worry about, and Tiger getting taken down the back lines now, so, I mean, I think it's impressive to see how much more Smear's aggression is working. He's so often the first guy on Feint, you know, kind of pushing forward, you know, going through these different choke points, but it seems like he's playing this kind of hair's breadth away from dying, but he seems to be living more often than not, and it makes taking this position so much better for a team.
We do see kind of a weak flank here from Feint, but they are going to be going to be able to take in pretty effectively on Smear, just going to bully all of Se7en out, and actually they still have a sizable advantage if they want to come to second quickly, but one problem with Feint can be that they take a long time to transition, so they need to go quite quickly here, as they are actually doing. Koff leading the charge through truck, the captain's just going to have to back up there, so it's going to be difficult for Se7en to hold this.
Oh my lord, we saw Smear again jump deep, very nearly looked like he's going to get taken down. Starkey's in, he will be taking down Smear, but no one's going to get forced. We do have a back cap. Tiger's going to be fighting towards Mathes, and you see these players, they've realized on the side of Feint that their uber advantage is basically nothing now. They've actually almost all gone back to try and take down Tiger. He will get taken down eventually by Polygon, but they lost that control towards grass, and these spawners from Se7en are coming up super soon. I mean, if Feint have got to go, they've got to go literally right now. Moving towards Sword. There's stickies they've got to deal with. There's a demo man still playing close. They know that, you know, literally best case scenario, it is going to be an Uber trade, and that's exactly what's happening right now. We see a soldier try and get in, try and make something happen. Se7en's the one that's going to be conceding some of the ground, and Cadis dies some of these stickies as well, so he's actually looking really, really good. So many of these Se7en players completely just disjointed. Raymond's going to be dying as well to this bomb from Mathes. This could just be an absolute wipe here, as it's just Captain live versus Ixie and Ombrak. He needs some kind of pure witchcraft at this point to live here, and yeah, Ixie's just going to chip him down. No chance at all Captain wins that, and looking good for Feint right now.
Yeah, that was a really nice take by Feint there. Cadis needed to take the fantastic trade into Feint in Saw there, but he actually got forced later, and then the Feint were just able to flood in with their man advantage and kill, I think, Cadis immediately after the fight, and they were just a demo down, just losing that fight in the scrappy mess of it. They had a nice aggression onto the train at the end, but Ombrak was safe the whole fight, and Se7en just kind of got picked apart. So yeah, really Cadis slightly misjudged the trade, didn't get the force so clinically, and the whole thing just kind of flowed from there. He wasn't able to lock out Feint, and they just took the point really quite well.
So now we're going to see a big old advantage for Feint. This time moving through far right, the sniper from Thalass might start coming into play just a little bit here. Mathes jumping super deep, going to get some decent damage, but he will get taken down, but not before Tiger though. So this Uber is just raining down so much death, but these players from Se7en aren't really quite dying yet. Now they're starting to get picked up a little bit. It is a 2v2. Cadis is basically nowhere to be seen. He's got to go towards spawn. Thalass is just running forward, trying to take down both sides at once. This respawn from Cadis, he'll take down one.
It's doable.
Oh my god, this is doable. Oh, he takes down a second scout as well.
Wow, huge clutch from Cadis there. That's actually insane. He's winning the 1v1 against two scouts. He does have a lot of stickies up, and they kind of just walked into them. Kuni wondering in chat what exactly happened, as he's been completely outplayed there by the brain of Cadis. So coming out clutch there, he kind of failed in the defensive 2 there, but he's going to come out clutch in the defensive lust.
I mean, not quite as clinical there from the side of Feint, but I feel like they still had their opportunity. You know, things were looking good, but some of these individual plays from Se7en just, you know, they feel like they had that nailed. You know, super easy play, then he just gets swatted away. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to that delay with Thalass, you know? He delayed so Cadis could get that full resup, so Cadis could be then full health to take their scouts. No way they would have done it with just a weak demo there.
Yeah, it's another 30% advantage here for Feint. They're going to be coming in right side this time. They definitely have time to take it if they come in correctly, and they're going to be walking in pretty aggressively now on right.
Yeah, you see aggression on the side of Se7en. They're going to be trying to lock some of these players out towards the right-hand side, but so much damage is being dealt. So many players towards the point. Thalass are going to get mulched down. Uber not quite up for Raymond's going to be 95%. He's still trying to hit 99! And he'll get taken down.
And I mean, on these past 2 last pushes, Smear's been doing so much. He came in there, got a frag onto Taki on the tower, which he probably wasn't expecting the demo to be that aggressive, and just did so much damage on them in the corner. And even the previous last push got a crucial frag onto the Raymond that almost meant they would have won that one. So Smear, he's really upped his game these last pushes. It's really nice to see, and he's kind of just, he's doing the 400, 500 damage that you have to do with the demo on the last push, and he's making his team win. It's really nice to see.
It's super good right now. Your prediction's looking pretty decent here. This is 2-1 for Feint as of right now, 15 minutes into this game. You can see another going to be our fourth mid here again. No one going super early. Starkey playing towards his own kitchen at this point, so slightly more defensive. The deep bomb comes in from Mathis, so this first frag's going to be super important, taking down Tiger. One less scout to worry about. Frag going absolutely every way, but ultimately it's going to be Fate that have the position towards point and the height. Suck's going to be jumping in. Cadence is going to be walking all the way from kitchen, getting some decent damage towards point, taking one scout down. He's still even going to live here. You see, oh my god, so many players from Fate are just getting kind of mulched here. And Talash is on the prowl. He's running forward. He doesn't care that scout's buff, but ultimately, Ombrak will be escaping here with his Uber.
I mean, so that fight came down to a 4v4 at the end, right? But we just saw really, really poor positioning from Koff and Ixie. They were both standing basically on the barrel, on the crate, sorry, on the ground in front of point. Stark bombed them, and they both tried to shoot Stark, who was above them. They just couldn't really play in the right position to deny the aggression from Se7en. Cadence just came in behind them completely for free, and it was just a really clinical take from Se7en. All of them going aggressive at the same time, and using the fact that Ixie and Koff were just doing basically the exact same thing, so not really having as much impact as they should have been.
Yeah, so this is going to be equal Uber position here. This is going to be a very similar position to what we saw a little bit earlier, and I feel like you said at the time, Fate did kind of weather all that pressure from Se7en, and it's looking pretty good for them. And obviously with this round advantage, it's a pretty decent position. They can just kind of slow things down a little bit. You see, once Se7en start pressuring towards the saw, it does look like Fate are perfectly happy to just kind of concede that little bit of ground, favor their hills towards point a little bit more. Slightly kind of unconventional compared to how we've seen some of these other teams play, but it's working pretty well so far. Oh my lord, Captain jumps in, he's getting taken down, nothing's happening there at all, and there's a little bit of an opportunity if Fate want to go for it, but I mean, they've got to round up. They can, honestly, at this point, they can even just send someone back to snipe or just whatever at this point.
Perhaps indication of this slightly inferior DM ability from the Feint scouts. Captain just willing to bomb into them constantly and shoot downward rockets towards them, Ixie and Kunu, that is. But at that time, not really working out too well. But really, every time Captain gets towards Saw and gets buffed, you feel like there's some kind of play in the works. And at that time, it didn't work. He obviously got the force from there earlier in the game, and I really think Ombrak, is not as safe as you might think that he is at this point.
No, especially if it's, if you're in that position as a soldier where you feel like you can get in without those scouts doing significant damage, I mean, that's important. If you feel like you can, get comfortably in without taking any significant kind of oh my lord, we see it again. Starkey's going to jump in, no damage at all, but he takes down Kunu, and importantly, Cadus is going down on the peripheral part of that fight, so no Daraman up for Se7en. This is a two-player disadvantage their position. Say something.
It is definitely. So Captain's going to be holding quite close. They're going to try and take the trade, getting a lot of spam onto them. He needs to take a good trade, but Smear does have the opportunity to spam him out if he's going to do it correctly. But Captain's playing it really, really smart here. If they'd have done that slightly better, they would have had taken so much less damage. But in fact, Captain just hits a bit of 100 damage rockets. And what could have been a nice situation with Feint, they kind of misplay it a bit, and they're unable to use that advantage. And Captain's going to walk in, leading his team through Saw here, even.
Yeah, this is looking good for them now. I've even got some words back here as we take this equal Uber trade. Flashing early from the side of Ombrak, but it's going to be grass. I feel like Se7en's going to want to start moving through. You see Stark all the way towards lower already. Captain's in behind so much damage towards Smear. This is absolutely ridiculous. These bombs are looking so good. They've got just a couple little players to clean up on the flank here. Yep, Kuno and Ixie both getting taken down here, and there's absolutely nothing stopping Se7en right now from just walking all the way through. There's going to be no stickies up towards two soldiers and a medic on the side of Feint, so as long as they can clean up these last two little players,
huge
should be looking pretty good. Somehow Raymond is just completely left alone. Se7en's just kind of completely falling to pieces. Everyone's just going different ways, trying to go for different frags, and I mean, absolutely no idea. What are they doing?
It was just a fantastically timed play from the Feint soldiers to just deny that door. They knew they didn't have a demo, so they couldn't just spam it. They had to commit into them, and they did it. I thought they were going to be slightly too late, but in fact, they didn't get denied too effectively. And Mathis came in, got Raymond. Polygon got a ton of damage, didn't die to Tellus because he got such a nice rocket onto him. And actually, he did die in the end, but he had a nice rocket, which is what's important. And they completely stuffed Se7en in that door, which is really nicely played by them.
It's super good. Taking down Cadus again. It seems to be like they keep catching him out of position.
Will Raymond die? Huge stuff from Raymond actually out of the window. They're going to be completely safe. Tiger will finally die, but Raymond living is actually really crucial there as they do now have a 70% advantage. But Feint is still chasing eepily.
Yeah, they don't care at all. There's so many of these players are walking all the way towards grass. I mean, Raymond's 75%. There's absolutely no way he can really even get this Uber in terms of fighting second now. It would be so brave to go for, losing Captain as well, and Starkey.
We just saw Polygon and Mathis both win 1v1s against their counterpart soldiers. It's really nicely, it's kind of a feather in the cap for the Feint soldiers, but Se7en do have an Uber advantage here. They could actually try and progress into second, but they don't have any soldiers, so it's going to be kind of difficult for them to hold down all the entrances.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult, but soldiers are up now, taking down Smear with some crispy little pipes there, so they're just going to be walking through again. Classic Se7en trying not to use Uber, trying to lose any players at all. Matters seems to be the sole jumper. He gets in one little bit of a rocket. Very nearly could have hit that rocket there, but Raymond's cool, calm, collected. Not using there.
A little bit too close for comfort there from Raymond. I think it might have even been a splash block that made him survive, but they're going to Uber in aggressive from Troy, but they don't know that Omrak actually has the Uber, so it's a much better Uber for Smear, going to be walking super aggressive onto them. Polygon does actually get a flash though, so they're not going to be able to chase us effectively, and in fact, Kov is going to go down there. That was a terrible flash from Omrak. They had a much better Uber, but then they just didn't, and they flashed someone who was not getting shot at.
Yeah, see that? Not really great there. There might even be a position for Se7en to start moving through, and there's so many players close, getting a lot of damage. Smear taken down already. This scout going super weak close as well, so I mean, as long as Se7en can take control of this height and maintain that control, it's going to look super good for them, but it is still technically a 4v4. Cooney's just about spawning now. He's going to be getting to his medic, should be able to get some crit heals, but it does look like Captain's going to be able to lock down this choke point, and there's going to be no real re-push on the side of Fate now. They're not even going to get their full spawns here, so I mean, it's almost like there's a couple players down for the side of Fate, and Se7en want to react completely. You see how far back. This is basically an equal situation. More or less a one-player disadvantage from Fate, but they're just going to concede the entirety of second here and even lose Eemes.
This could actually kill the dry push from Se7en. They're in under. They actually they're waddling around. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do, but it was. I mean, Fate could have put up a bit more defense there, but they didn't have that demo, so it was always going to be quite rough for them. As we do now see Se7en trying to pressure in this left side. Captain's getting in. Cadus is going to spam from drop down for a bit. I think they're not going to end up going off that pick. They're just going to be poking and prodding here. But I mean, Fate could have put a lot of a stronger defense of that second up if they'd have wanted to. But they're kind of playing a little bit more conservative. Obviously, they are in the lead now, so I think it is fairly smart. You know, they're just going to reset on their last hit.
Yeah, there's always that risk on second if you commit just a little bit too hard, you know, suddenly lose a couple pairs and things start looking dodgy, but it's going to be the Uber trade for Se7en, using straight through shot, taking down that gun. Captain looks like he's going to get picked up right at the end of this Uber trade though, so this repush would be super hard for Se7en, and I can't imagine they're going to want to commit too hard here. Thalash doing a little bit peeking and prodding here and there, but honestly, it feels like there might be an opportunity for Feint to at least take some control towards lobby if they wanted to, but no, they're not feeling it. They're going to keep their gun up. They're going to be building up their Uber, make sure that whatever happens, you know, obviously with Raymond using slightly earlier, there will be a slight advantage on the side of Se7en, but with this building from the Scout and Ombrak here, it's basically going to be equal.
Yeah, but that does signify Se7en getting a bit antsy here, you know. Then there's only 6 minutes left. They wouldn't normally take a trade in this situation if they were up around, but, you know, they're down around. They need to try and make things happen. They're going to be pressuring super aggressive here into the left side. Stark's getting ready to go for a sack. Mathis actually has that gone down.
Yeah, this is looking super bad. Those 2 stickies, and now Tiger just runs in, takes down Ombrak. This is an absolute collapse of all 7 players onto everyone on Feint. There's absolutely no redeeming features here. All of the Feint are just getting absolutely crushed here. And okay, Tiger gets taken down at the end, but too little too late. That's going to be an equalizer. And I mean, I feel like the most important bit there is you saw them move through far left. They got pressured a little bit, but those 2 stickies on Matthes as he basically just stood there and ate it, it makes it so much more difficult to hold that last one. You can't have that height on the hut.
Yeah, I mean, Smear should have had right side ticked off anyway. That's pretty much the only thing Se7en are going to do in that situation. But Mathis really showing his inexperience, getting picked there and just allowing Se7en to roll over them. It was kind of tragic for Ombrak to die at like 80%, but that's kind of what happens if you lose your roamer, and Se7en are just able to commit so freely in there. So it's 2-2 now. This mid is going to be absolutely crucial, we believe.
It really is, and it's going to be early aggression from both soldiers on the side of Se7en. They're getting so much damage, but no real frags as of yet. It's going to be Talash and Cadus as well as Captain going to be dying here. Starkey's actually directly behind Ombrak. Oh my lord, that was absolutely ridiculous, but doesn't quite hit the shots. And this is going to be a big Uber advantage for Feint with about 4.5 minutes left to go. This can be some just, you know, some aggression, some momentum. This can be, I mean, if they convert this round right now, they might look good just to close this map out completely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was very close call there for Ombrak actually twice, and then he went down very low to begin with, but did actually survive, and that meant that the bomb from, I think, Captain was kind of useless. And then once again, Starkey, he was hiding. He went for the play onto Ombrak, but Ombrak had a kind of nice, potentially accidental surf, but he lived to tell the tale, and another opportunity for Feint to push last, and they've been pretty clinical with this so far, eepily.
Yeah, they've been looking pretty good. Once again, they have a gun and a sniper to deal with. This time it's going to be Tiger sniping, and looks like they're just taking a moment just to buff everyone up. They want to make sure Mathis is nice and healthy along with Ixie when they go for these little kind of plays on the flank. Gun's going to be going down. Cooney's going to start playing towards spawn. There's still so many stickies on it though. They've already scattered these stickies. They're going to be trying to focus down Tiger here, but you see so many players on the side of Se7en. They still have control, they still have height, they still have so much position on left, and you see Feint are basically like, look guys, this ain't happening. We're just out completely. That's the last push without a single frag.
And this is the Cadus brain in action, really. He's noticed the complete flaw with the 7 last pushes, because the smear commits so deep into them, they all get crushed on the left side. And he's told them to all basically just rotate on their left spawn instead. But actually, the Uber is using quite aggressively here from 7, but it's kind of pretty bad because Cadus did die so early trying to lead the charge in. And now actually this is going to be a pretty free second take for Feint once again.
Oh my god, I mean, talk about free. This might actually just be really, really scary for 7. They lost both Cadus and Tiger there. It does look like just about a little bit of damage is being dealt, but I mean, Captain is losing his life. 90% on the side of Ombrak. Teller still playing super, super close. I mean, there's a world where he very, very easily dies then. This is huge Uber advantage this time. No! That's absolutely ridiculous.
Tragedy. That is super tragic. Wow. I really... How do they not check that?
Oh my god.
Oh, goodness me. That was a... I mean, I screamed there, but that was a pretty unfortunate drop from Ombrak. We do see Polygon going for the fourth play potentially, but he's just going to have to leave. And that, what could have been a game-winning last push for Feint is actually going to be translated all the way back to mid-hold from that. Quite, they're getting a little bit over-eager here, eepily, not checking their traps.
Yeah, I mean, it was exactly what you said about, Smear should have been doing on one of these last holds, I feel like they're just not quite thinking about things. Like I said, maybe just a little bit over-eager, whatever it means. 7's got a huge Uber advantage. They're going to walk to try and take mid for free. Polygon's going to jump in, takes down Thalash at least, but actually will manage to force off this Uber, and we have a backup from both Iggy and Mathers as well going to be playing towards this height, so they have to take down this one scout in the last remaining part of their Uber, so about 95% on the side of Ombrak, but losing Mathers there makes things really, really difficult. There's an Uber up on the side of Feint, but they only have 3 players, so I mean, even them taking control of this mid's going to be difficult. Cadence just jumps in. He's decided, alright, I'm done with life. I'm jumping in. I'm dying. Starkey as well. Captain's going to be going behind, but surely he gets cleaned up right now.
Yeah, he would die, and this is definitely going to be a second take from Feint here if they come in quickly. I really would have liked Smear to actually just bomb Raymond with that Uber immediately to try and catch him out, maybe. But they're opting to just get the 3 frags, really kind of the free 3 frags.
God.
And in fact, they're trying to extend a bit into second. They're not really sure why, but this actually opens up the opportunity for Feint to come in and try and get the force here with a dry push in through left side.
Well, I mean, it's getting the force really. Raymond's still only about 90%. They're playing a lot of people towards point early, but Ixie's going to get taken down. Oh my god, Polygon's going to get taken down as well, so this is still Uber up on the side of Raymond, Smear, Ombrak, Kunu, the only survivors on the side of Feint, and we see all of them backed all the way. Smear's still playing towards point. I feel like he knows it's 1 minute left to go. They can't really afford to lose too much ground. Tiger's going to get taken down. Uber's still up. It just does look like Ombrak's just about going to get his, and they really, at this point, they have to use this Uber. They have to contest towards point. It is going to be a nice equal trade, and importantly, they've stopped 7 from capping this point.
But
and they've taken down Thalash.
Killed both scouts in this trade. Got the sticky trap, got the huge frag onto Thalash. He's going to hit nice. Smear is absolutely owning right now, and this is the last push opportunity for Feint. They can come in through the left side or the right side. They can do whatever they want. Yeah,
they're moving through lower. Smear takes a lot of damage, but they're taking down Tiger. These 2 soldiers from 7 have to come up so good here, but they're getting absolutely mulched. This deep bomb from Matt. They're taking that position. Both scouts from Feint moving towards point, and they're just going to cap it.
I called it eepily. It's 3-2 to Feint.
God damn.
Oh my goodness, that was insanely huge from Smear, I'm not gonna lie. So he stayed in kind of almost beyond his welcome to get that frag on the Tiger with a sticky trap as they push second. I mean, 7 kind of being, I don't even know why they bothered pushing second there. There was only a minute left, They kind of completely misplayed that fight. He got the frag onto Koff with the pipe in the Uber, and then he got the frag onto Cadus afterwards, who was just isolated. So Smear really putting his team on his back in this game, and Feint with a not necessarily expected, although apparently expected by me, victory
Massive brain.
Against 7 in this map. So there you go. Really well played by Feint.
Yeah, I mean, we saw both teams, some of these Uber trades weren't looking fantastic, but what a time to get a good Uber trade when there's 50 seconds left to go on the clock. And like you said, that just allows them to walk straight through the last, and really, they could more or less go in any door where they want as long as they played together as a team, and that's exactly what they did. So, I mean, we talked about Snakewater being the Cadus kryptonite, and apparently it's following through right now. So 1-1 for maps, and it looks like we are going to be going to Granary. But before we move on over there, let's have a little look at some logs.
Indeed.
Oh, lordy lord. Looking at this damage, your boy's right up there. Smear 324.
He's been playing absolutely out of his mind this map. I mean, we saw last time he had a lot of damage, but he had a lot of damage taken, and this time the most important stat he has is that he has about 40 DPM more than he's taken, whereas Cadus has the opposite. He has about 20 damage taken more than he's dealt, which is never what you want as a demo. So Smear really, just playing fantastically there. Obviously, both damage taking, a lot of heroes just trying to do a lot for their team, but Smear was definitely having the better end of it on that map.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of unsung heroes of that game, he kind of had some visibly kind of good plays here and there, but ultimately kind of fairly quiet in how fantastically well he was playing was Kunu. I mean, like I said, he was doing some kind of bits here and there, but I feel like he was just super rock solid. He did everything that was needed from him in some really important situations, and ultimately, I feel like between Kunu, Smear, and Omrak, I mean, you saw, Smear had the damage, getting output. Kunu was getting the frags. They were keeping Omrak alive. They had 2 more Ubers over the course of the game. I feel like it was just some really solid combo play.
Yeah, definitely. Really not what you expect to see. The 3 top damagers being all on the same team from Feint. So they're just, I mean, the top damage, six players are all in the combo, right? But it's red above blue. So I think that really says a lot. The Feint combo were just playing it a lot more clinically, and particularly the Uber trades, which is working out so much better for them.
Yeah, I think going into this map now, going into Granner, is something which Se7en got to be hyper aware of. Maybe they're thinking after that first map, they're thinking, oh, it's going to be a 5-0 fairly easy game. We can play more aggressive. We can do anything and still win. Well, Feint's clearly shown, no, you can't. You've got to pay attention. You've got to be ready for us, because when we start coming, there's not a lot you could do sometimes. But yeah, going on to Granner, what are you thinking in terms of the teams? Obviously, this was Se7en's pick, but do you think it favors them that heavily?
I think it's going to be kind of a wild card one. Neither team scrimmed it in the warm-up, and it kind of depends who's going to go huge. I think it's definitely a map that Smear likes a lot, which is going to benefit them once again. He is always, getting fantastic sticky traps on it. It's one of his main features, and he's got definitely mids as well. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Se7en overall because they're Se7en, I guess.
Because they're Se7en. But I feel like as always, I feel like we've kind of said it on every map so far. On Gully Wash, so much comes down to this initiation. The soldiers, it really means a lot. And we said it the same on Snakewater, and you kind of got to say it the same on this map. And as much as I feel like it's kind of a soldier's job on mids to get these initiations. On Granner, I feel like it can almost take things to another level. If you can take height and keep height on Granary, you can just instantly win a mid fight, it feels like. Especially if you get some of that early damage towards the demo, you force them back towards that little choke point, and if people get caught in that pit towards choke, it's like that mid's over. There's basically no coming back from there.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a very fantastic and fascinating is actually the word I was reaching for there. 1v1 at the beginning, because both Smeary and Cadis like to be extremely fast as mid, with the read on exactly where to pre-fire the stickies if they want to get them on the pack or up top. So I'm expecting some 1v1s really coming down to the wire at the start, and whoever gets the advantage of that is really going to have a much better time in the mid, because as soon as you make the enemy demo not able to take his pack maybe, or at least stand in the middle of the point, you can just start walking over. All the enemy team is going to be sitting in one position, and you can that's so much extra space for your soldiers to make use out of.
Exactly. It's that same kind of situation. If you can get to point on Granner, it's the same as kind of, pushing forward and getting that point on Snakewater. You've got so many different angles where you've got really good distances for how stickies charge and, how quickly you can have them detonate. It's such a strong position to get your demo and to get your medic as well, because all of these kind of side angles in terms of Granner mid are super dangerous for a medic. But if you can start playing towards the middle of the point, he has vision and he can surf, he can kite away in a bunch of different directions to try and get towards safety. So, 100%, if they can take some of that early position, that can be so crucial for winning some of these mid fights. I feel like that game was a lot quieter for the Se7en soldiers, and we saw some good. It wasn't kind of big frag, big damage plays. I feel like we got some decent distractions from Mathers, and definitely some good frags from Polygon on some of these mid fights. I feel like maybe not necessarily I feel, but I'm hoping they've got some good kind of synchronized, maybe kind of double bombs or kind of fake bomb kind of bait plays on this mid. I feel like that's the kind of thing Feint would do, They're all big brain gamers. They would come up with some good ideas for this map.
Well, yeah, one thing to mention on the previous map is that Starkey and Captain both having pretty negative KDs there, just not really getting too much done, particularly on the mid-fights. Obviously they were going for a lot of sacks, in stalemates, but we saw time and time again, Starkey would go in, he'd get a decent amount of damage, but he would just get cleaned up by the scouts, just playing more or less inside each other. So that is kind of one of the problems with Snakewater. Your bombs just kind of depend. Did they happen to look at you this time? If yes, then you just kind of lose mid.
Unlucky.
And so they were kind of basing a lot of stuff, as you saw, off, Cadis trying to aggress when Starkey goes in, and if Starkey doesn't do anything, then Cadis just dies, this kind of thing. But really, Granary is a lot easier to get in. There's so many, you can just high bomb straight to them if you want to. Particularly Captain and Stark probably have much better jumps overall than Polygon and Mathis, although, there are no slouches on Feint. But, both jumper mains, and on this map where you can just get so much height off your bombs, just strafe around so effectively, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Starkey and Captain to, make good on what they didn't make good on Snakewater.
Honestly, I feel like almost guaranteed one of the mids we're going to see from Se7en is going to be where you see Starkey do a super high, super deep bomb, and he ends up on the enemy's lap, right? Because we've seen that so many times in different kind of variations of Se7en over the past kind of 9 months or so. I feel, and that distraction, and I don't know how the hell he ends up just like standing there, whatever. But like, if he can get to that position, it seems like a kind of weird gimmick. But like, realistically, what are you going to do? Like, he's not close enough for you to do any significant damage. He can still just spam down rocks. You can't just like ignore him really, because he'll just jump on you anyway. Like guarantee at some point this game that mid's going to come out, and I think it's going to be a fragging one.
It could be. It all depends basically on how well Goff plays it. If he can keep track of him, not get completely distracted by him, but just make sure he knows he's there, his medic's dodging the spam rockets, and they can just kind of push forward and ignore him. And as soon as he jumps off it, Koff knows and is ready to deny him. So it's kind of all about that sort of mind game 1v1 between Koff and Stark, if that does happen. But really, I'd like to see some unorthodox mids here from maybe Feint. They had one on Gully Wash that didn't really work at all, but I think Se7en are probably going to be pretty good at adapting here, but if Feint can catch them out by doing something slightly odd or unexpected, I think it's going to work pretty well for them.
Yeah, we saw before, if you can get an early round against Se7en and start playing from that advantageous position, you can, start feeling like a little bit more in control. And, we've said 100 times so far, Feint needs to feel like they're in control to have any chance of winning these maps against a team like Se7en. Last map, they showed it really, really well. Once they kind of gained control, I felt like, it wasn't perfect, but they could ultimately keep control more often than not. But it all comes up with that nice early start for them. So I think we will be reading up fairly soon. I guess we'll go and give some predictions. I mean, it is map 3. This is going to be the one that decides who goes through to the upper bracket finals. So what are you thinking here, Eemes? Who's going to be walking away with it? You already said a little bit about Se7en. You're going to stick with your guns?
It's hard to say. I'd like to predict for Feint. I think it's going to be... You know what? I think this one, in normal time, is going to be a 1-1. And then it's going to be a golden gap. And then after the map, I'm going to say it's going to be 1-1, then Se7en take the golden gap, but it's going to be really close. But you tell me, eepily, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. I feel like, I'd love to see an upset this early on in playoffs to really shake up things, really shake up the expectations and have the other teams thinking, what the hell is going on? Like, we got to up our game. We need to sort ourselves out. But I think it's going to be so difficult for Feint. I think that they're going to get like at least a round or two in this, but ultimately I'm feeling like it's going to be something like a 3-1 to Se7en.
That's fair enough. And yeah, it's definitely interesting, as you mentioned. I mean, you don't normally see the first map. This is the first seed versus the fourth seed, right? So this should be the least fair game in playoffs. Se7en, obviously, I don't know when the last time they lost this fixture. They always get first in the season. By only 1 point this season, to be fair, but still. So I really don't know when the last time was that they lost this fixture. So it's going to be... I mean, you see them taking a very long break here, actually. Tiger was not in the server for a long time, probably going and smoking, but, they're...
Bad boy.
But Feint were back and 6 up, ready to play for far earlier than Se7en were. So, they're Feint are on the hype train that, really trying to get going, and Se7en are just trying to calm things down. Think, what, we lost the map, but it was Snakewater. We don't really like that map, and we have all the chances of winning on Granary. We beat Frotech on it at LAN, so I think we can beat Feint here if they just play their game.
Well, here we go. Going to find out. This is going to be map 3. This is the final map of our best of 3 here. Wiethoofd Season 52 Premiership, upper bracket, round 1. This is Se7en versus Feint. We have Cadis this time running out towards top. Nice early damage. Big sticky towards Smith, but can't get his own pack, so he's going to actually be just as weak here, but he's going to have his medic towards him, and both them is going to be looking to live nice and early. He's taking some early aggressive position towards point, but Smith right back on it. These bombs from all of the soldiers actually just raining down, getting so much damage. Smith's going to get taken down here. Xy's actually going to be on Raven now, just about beefing a couple shots. Doesn't quite hit it in. I mean, that might be just quite disastrous there. It looks so good for him.
Yeah, we saw just kind of inconclusive 1v1 between Cadis and Smeary there, but Smear committed so deep onto point and just got absolutely nuked by the Se7en soldiers. Captain didn't die, Starkey did, but, they just... he was so aggressive with his team and took so much heals that him dying there was just kind of curtains for them, with Cadis managing to live, and they will be able to probably take the second, although actually Smear is going to put up a quite sturdy defense, and Se7en are going to think twice.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason at all why Feint should be looking to keep control at this point. They have all of their players, and it's going to be on Se7en to see what they're going to do. They're playing with Thalash and Cadis towards this right-hand side, just keeping things easy, while both soldiers are going to be moving towards top. It's going to be the soldiers will be their first little bit of contest there. It's going to be Polygon, but he's playing nice and safe. Picking up now Captain, nice fry from Ixie, and that's going to stunt Se7en's ability to really do anything much here. So, all now in the park of Feint as they're peeking and prodding. Feel like there might be an opportunity for something like drop down or something along these lines. You see Se7en holding towards left right now with their heels, but they're denying these shutters so well, and you can just see. Doesn't feel like Feint can really get anyone anywhere.
Yeah, you can see Se7en, we have a lock on their positionings here. They're all exactly where they need to be. Tiger watching drop down, Thalash watching Zed, and both his soldiers watching far left, Cadis on the shutter, so they know exactly where they need to play this stalemate. The only question is, will they be able to make anything happen in the lunchbox area?
Yeah, well, they're going to be going for it again. This time, Se7en taking things a lot easier. They've taken control of Lunchbox now. They have this position towards top, and there's no real stickies. There's only really soldiers that's going to be here to contest both Starkey and Captain right now. You see kind of a Feint's reaction to this is to more or less kind of blob up, make sure they're healed, and then kind of pick a little bit back and forth. So, I mean, it's an interesting idea, but they do concede a lot of ground for that when that happens. But the time being, it does just feel like Se7en's just kind of, feeling them out. They're not coming too hard on anything. They're just going to peek and prod and see if they can try and get something nice and easy here. Uber trade's going to be what's happening, though. Nice early use from Raven, a little bit of a flash as well. The Captain's going to be trying to jump behind. He's got two soldiers to deal with, though. He's doing a lot of damage, but he's going to get taken down, so not really a lot Se7en can do here. Starkey even playing towards top as well. He might actually even get caught out and might get quite easily fragged here, as both scouts and the medic for the side of Se7en going to be playing towards this left-hand side. He's still somehow alive and got so much good damage towards Polygon. He's taking a 1v1 with Matthes and actually wins it somehow.
How is Starkey alive? That's crazy. Starkey basically could have been in a 1v4 there, but in fact he managed just to take a 1v1 and win it. So really nicely played by him to actually live there. That could have, if they'd have picked him one time, then they could have actually taken that and pushed out of second. But in fact, no, they're going to be still sitting inside, and we're pretty much back to a reset now.
Yeah, it is just going to be a nice little reset. Spawners now coming up for Fate. They're going to have their soldier back again. So, again, nothing much happening, but we do have Se7en once again with this position towards Lunchbox. They're just able to chill there. They're able to spam another little angle for them to try and get something towards Umbrak. And I mean, so it's definitely interesting where Feint are playing. They're conceding a lot of ground on point. They're playing pretty far back, just kind of trusting that, they're able to get this reaction in terms of trading if Se7en is to move forward. How do you, I mean, surely for Feint, this is great for as long as Se7en's kind of peeking and prodding, but how do you actually make something proactively happen? I mean, I guess you just wait for this trade. Once again, Captain walks in, tries to make something happen. He's going to be trading Ubers, losing his life again. Decent damage. They force some of these Feint players back. It's going to be so much on Cadis now to try and get some sticks down to keep the rest of these players moving forward. It's going to be a really scrappy 4v4. It's going to turn into a 3v3 with Umbrak picking up Tiger, actually. They haven't actually quite capped second yet, but the Se7en players is going to be focusing all now, taking down Matthes. Thalash getting a 5-kill streak that's absolutely just sickening, and they're going straight for last.
That was so nice from Se7en. They, in fact, in the Uber trade, they lost a player. They dropped Captain, but Cadis just knew every single player on Feint was locked out, so he just walks in, stickies up the shutter, they can't get back into the fight, and then the aggression and the damage from Cadis is just far too much, and Thalash just cleans up every single player, so I mean, it was nice by Feint to be so ready to deal with Captain going behind, but actually overcommitted to him, gave him too much ground, and although Captain died, Cadis was just able to capitalize off the ground that he took.
Literally, you got to feel like that's a decision there from Se7en, like we'll lose a player for the sake of winning that kind of positional advantage. This time, Cadis running out towards top, Smear still playing towards floor, playing a little bit healthier, and he's going to be that first player to move towards point again, getting some decent damage, but soldiers are going to be raining death upon him. Smear gets taken down, but 3 frags as an immediate reaction for actually both teams. So it's a 3v3, but this is Soldier Scout versus Double Scout now, and even Raymond's a little bit weak at this point. As long as Ixie and Kunu can play together, they have some position towards point, they have these heals. They're actually kind of conceding quite a bit of ground. They have a lot of respect here. Captain just playing on this height, just spamming things nice and steadily. This is real war of attrition now. That's going to be walking forward, gets so much damage. Ixie so near loses his life here, but he will now. Scout's going to die.
That's an absolute tragedy. Ombrak's 97%. He's 97. That was so nice from Thalash actually, because Captain basically got shot by both scouts, and it was all on Thalash to try and take the 1v1. And even though he was basically, well, the 1v2 against the scouts there, and he hit so much damage onto Ixie, with Ixie kind of missing a few shots, that they could just win that. And Cadis is just going to come in here, take out Mathis immediately. Poly's almost certainly going to die as well to a huge play from Cadis. And even though, you know, that was a 3v3, it was pretty much an even scenario in mid, Feint catastrophically misplaying it basically means they now have an uber advantage into the last, and they're 2 down. Cadis in already.
Yeah, I mean, Kunu's sniping. He might be the one to try something happen. He peeks deep, but Raymond's already used his Uber gun going down now. So many of these players caught towards his left-hand side. Smith should just get absolutely obliterated, along with Kunu, along with this sentry gun. There's going to be 2 players remaining. No one anymore. That's going to be a second round of 7, just 6.5 minutes into this game.
And we saw, I mean, Smear really putting his team on his shoulders on Snakewater. Cadis is doing that now. He had that fantastic Reaver shot second, the one in the first round, and this round, you know, killing both soldiers immediately there, just taking the Uber straight into the last with only 3 players, just him, Thalash, and Raymond, but they go in so deep, get so many frags, and just pretty much destroy them all. So Cadis playing really, really well right now.
Oh my god, so weak Smear there. He nearly died there. He's going so weak again. Definitely early damage in terms of demo exchanges, going the way of 7 there, but ultimately both them is going to be healing up. We have deep bombs from both soldiers. Stark doing a nice little pirouette in the air, and he gets the rockets towards Ombra. Cadis gets the kill credit, but that was so much on Stark's damage and his destruction. You see the rest of 7 playing towards his choke point. They can play so slow around these heals. They know how much damage they've dealt to these players. Cadis is still just charging forward, taking down Kuno as well. It's all on Ixie and Polygon to try and make something happen. Just Ixie now, it is technically a 1 versus 2. Ixie can maybe do this if he hits 2 really crispy meat shots towards Thalash here, but
it's not going to happen.
Oh my god, he actually does! Wow! But then Raymond takes him down. Wow. Oh my, okay. Ixie still got it.
I had absolutely no faith in that. But, I mean, at least Raymond did get the arrow, so that's pretty huge from Ixie. Kind of irrelevant in the end. Well, it's going to slow down 7's push into second here, so that is pretty nice. Not even having a scout on point. And in fact, Feint might even try and contest this if they're really ballsy, but no, they're going to reset in yard. But really, it was just fantastic to see Starky. He did the high bomb, right? He went into them to start with. He saw they were looking at him, so he strafed back. And then when no one was looking at him because he strafed back again, and then landed on Ombrak's head, did about 140 damage, and Cadis got him with a sticky. So just really, really smart play from Stark, using his jumper main skills and just kind of outplaying Feint there.
We do see 7 now moving towards far left. The Uber advantage is effectively nothing at this point. Ombrak's just about to get his, so this 7 aggression moving towards top, it's not really going to allow them to take things too much for free, because Ombrak can just stay here with the rest of his team. You know, they can use their Uber the second 7 gets a little bit too close, and I feel like 7 is starting to get the read on this. They realize they've been just a little bit too slow, so instead they're going to kind of retreat to a slightly different position. I say that. Oh, Raymond's going to drop. Wow. Oh my god, this is such a catastrophe for 7.
I don't know if that was a trap or if that was just some nicely kind of pre-fired stickies, just some spam, I guess, from Smear. But that was, you know, a really ballsy trade from Cadis. Raymond trying to milk as, you know, he can be prone to, but you know, really not paying off for him there. And in fact, the aggressive play from 7 really not paying off at all.
No, and in all of that, Ombrak did not use whatsoever, so this is going to be absolutely enormous advantage for Feint, and there's no reason at all why they can't be pushing straight forward through to second, and even, I mean, if they're fast enough, they could potentially even try and use an Uber advantage onto 7's last, but I feel like 7 aren't going to make this easy for them. That first frag's going to actually go the way of Stark on that flank there, getting decent damage. Smear's still walking forward, not quite even got the beam on him. It's so difficult. Captain jumping behind, he's going to get some rockets. Surely they have to force him. Yeah, they're going to be forcing Ombrak, and somehow these soldiers are still just about alive. In all of that, Tiger hits a headshot on Ixie, and it's just kind of carnage.
This is absolutely tragic for Feint. The Uber was just completely destroyed by Stark, holding so close, getting the pick immediately on Koff. Actually, really nice Smear onto Cadis, which is really going to delay 7 here. No main core and they're 2 down. It's going to be difficult for them to push into mid now, particularly as they do have Tiger up on Sniper.
It's pretty nutty there. Like you said, that all-important demo pick is going to be super good in terms of Feint keeping just a little bit of control, especially when Tiger's still up on Sniper. But Uber's going to be up now. Polygon jumps in. He's actually going to get a completely point-blank headshot. How does that, what do you even say to that? That's just unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, he almost killed Thalash with some pretty crisp rockets, but Thalash does get arrowed, so nothing too much happening there for Polygon, as they do have a pretty sizable advantage, but we've gone to a pause, so interesting. I wonder why that's happened.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely hope it's not any kind of player technical issues here, because I mean, after the French derby game a couple of weeks ago, I think we're all timed out, you know, for this season. We're done now. No one else can take a timeout. Yeah, yes. I think going into this little bit here, so we have Polygon down. We still have Tiger sniping, but we have a 40% advantage for Raymond. What do you think exactly is going to happen here? I feel like Smear's still playing a little bit aggressive. He's got some good traps up. I feel like this might not be quite as easy for Se7en as they're hoping it's going to be.
And my little birds are tweeting to me right now. I'm just potentially getting a message as to why the pause has happened. Or not. I think we're baited. Omrak was typing something, but then he stopped, so I don't know. They're not telling me, apparently. But yeah, this... well, I actually need to notice the trap. But I expect he would, because he is, you know, a fairly smart gamer. He's played Pocket Scout for about 500 years, so if he doesn't notice this trap, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. So this should be a fairly clean mid-take for Se7en, but, you know, who knows?
Yeah, anything really can happen on some of these situations, you know, just tiny little things, not quite checking this trap here, you know, that trap there, there's, you know, might even be able to get something on the flank here with Smear, but yeah, like you said, it does seem to be like there's no real forward position in terms of soldiers on the side of Feint. Obviously, Polygon is still down, Mathers is just super far back, and really, I feel like at this point, especially with this threat of Tiger Sniper, as long as they can just slow them down a little bit and get their Uber up on second, they can feel like they're in a comfortable enough position. We have unpaused, and it does look like they're going to do, I say, almost exactly that. They're going to be barely sending anyone at all on mid, and yeah, they're just going to more or less concede this round, let Se7en take control of it and keep building up their own Uber here. Obviously, so going to be pretty afraid of this Tiger Sniper threat even once they get the Uber.
So, Omrak, do you think it has Uber out now, although you may not be able to see it on the HUD? I don't know how well our producer is dealing with this pause issue. So my HUD is still bad, but our producer isn't, so that's good to know. So it's going to be slightly difficult for me to cast right now, but in fact, they're both teams at 6-sub, and they're both at full charge, so not so difficult, in fact.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty easy in this situation. We've got some peeking and prodding back and forth. Seems to be Stuff's able to get a lot of position towards this left-hand side from the defender's point of view, and that's going to be pretty scary if Tiger decides to want to start peeking there. But actually, Se7en is walking super far in. You see how far away so many of these Fate players are. Oh my god, Smear's getting sent into the skybox. He's just about going to get flashed out, but this damage forward is good. Cadus just wants to charge forward with all this massive
Cadus is so far in, he's going to destroy them. Oh my god, Cadus can Smear. They're all so weak. This is insane. This is an absolutely monster trade from Cadus. Holy crap, eepily.
Oh my, okay. Feng actually just got completely nuked. The one player from Se7en that went down there was Captain. Ixie is now going to be nowhere near point at all. They're just walking all the way forward. Absolutely nothing happened at all. That was nuclear.
So if I'm right, yeah, the pause just happened. So maybe... So that's actually potentially Feint having a bit of a tactical team talk here, you know, trying to reset. Obviously, that's kind of a crushing round to lose. Really, the problem was they were holding so passive so that Omrak couldn't get forced. They just let K just walk straight into right yard, take it for free, and then he had to solo into about 4 players, and with such a better Uber, he just absolutely annihilated them in that tiny room.
Yeah, it's pretty filthy. So going into this 4th mid now, this is 3-0 up for Se7en. Look like they're taking some control, you know. We've got to make sure it's not the same as Process, and that sticky from Smear is going to almost completely secure the mid here. So I was going to say, you know, we don't want that feeling like it's a bit of a one-sided map, and this is Feint's opportunity to keep moving forward, make things happen, taking down Captain as well. That's nice and good. We have this soldier jumping as well, taking down Raymond. That's such a good pick from Mathers there, reading the situation perfectly. It's only really Tiger behind right now who's going to be much of a threat at all. He walks into it behind Omrak. No one's looking.
That's an absolute tragedy. That would have been a round for Feint for sure if they didn't let Tiger in, but they're just a tiny little lapse in concentration. Tiger comes behind, hits the tick bind, and you know, he's going to be pretty happy with that frag. But really, it was just a fantastically placed sticky from Smear. He got the early pre-fire onto Cadus, so he's very weak because Cadus went aggressively up top. Tried to get the spam onto them on Catwalk, but Smear just pre-fired him so effectively as he tried to take that back, but Cadus had a really, really unfortunate death.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Se7en looking to want to take control of this 2nd point now, so it does look like Feint want to try and keep some control. They're going to be really kind of a little bit worried about some of this spam here. They're taking so much damage. They're kind of coordinated soldier rockets and the stickies as well, looking really good. Smear's kind of getting forced out. Could possibly have even died there, but it does look like Se7en's going to keep control of this 2nd now. Feint's going to get forced back just a little bit. And it might just be a situation where both teams can just kind of relax a little bit, you know? They're about to get Uber, both teams. And I think both of them could do with healing up, buffing up a little bit and just, you know, relaxing a second.
Yeah, Smear kind of farming his damage log, so getting a lot of spam onto the combo. Actually, Captain will go down, so it's not such a farm. He's actually going to get quite a crucial pick, so they could actually try and start and make something happen here if they... And yeah, Feint are actually going to trade through Zed, I think.
Yeah, they are going to be using nice and early, much later use from Raymond, so about 50% advantage in terms of this Uber. but they're not going to want to go through this choke point. Captain was still down this entire time, and the repush from Feint is now on. They're getting some decent position, but you see Se7en, they don't want to give up any of this ground. They still have a lot of players. Their health is not on their side. They know the Polygon's actually somehow deep behind, but Captain picks him up. Now, Matters' opportunity to try and make something happen. Taking out Cadus is significant, but it's still 5v5, and you see the rest of Feint. They just feel like they got to back out. They haven't got enough of a look in here.
Yeah, and Se7en are going to be busting in through the right yard here, going to be taking it pretty much for free. Nothing Ixie can do about that. And actually, Smear's going to get caught. He's so weak, going to go down almost. So he gets a huge arrow from Ombrak. He could actually live here. Ixie will go down on the flanks. That's really nicely played by Ombrak, though, to keep his demo man and main caller alive. But still, Se7en going to come in through this ramp area and try and take mid now.
Yeah, there's still basically 2 players down. There's only one fresh spawner. Matha is just only coming up now, so Se7en is going to be taking control of this mid. Equal Ubers again. Ixie does look like he's going to get in forward here, and honestly, pretty decent chance he comes up on a sniper or something along those lines. He did just for a second, but looks like he's not going to stick with it. Going to stick with that standard cookie cutter classes right now for Feint. 15 minutes left now in this game. 3-round disadvantage. I feel like Feint, they can't really seem to make anything proactive happen. It's almost, some of these positions, it's just waiting for them to try and do something. Starkey's going to jump in. What an arrow from Ombrak. Shot out the sky.
Wow, really nice. Nicely played from Ombrak. They're completely safe this time, and they're not actually giving up all the space. They're going to be pressing actually quite aggressively through Choker, trying to make something happen. Polygon might go for a sack, who knows. He's in very aggressively onto Captain, actually. They take a lot of damage, though. And Thalach actually wants to take the trade in here. It was forced much earlier, but actually Ombrak will have to pop on the Smear. Solos from both teams, I think, is slightly better for Feint, and they are going to be aggressing quite deep here from Choke.
Yeah, Smear's going to push super far forward, but the team's just not really with him to help. They were all just trying to get some hyper. Smear is just way too far forward. Ixie Kuna getting taken down by Stark from one swift little rocket. So good. That's just such a kind of weird either overextension from Smear or just, I don't know, the rest of the team not quite being on the same page, but that might actually be an entire round. Still 9 seconds left on the clock, but Matters, Ixie, and Kunu. So, yeah, Cadus knows he's walking all the way through the right-hand side from defender's point of view, getting his stickies towards Smear in Polygon.
Polygon! Though. Absolutely insane air shots, but Ombrak's going to go down anyway. Raymond just needs to live here, run all the way out. Captain's going to bomb it deep to try and distract, but actually Raymond's surely dying.
No!
But no!
Captain just jumped straight to point! Everyone just walked past him, he takes it, Kunu just catches it solo!
Oh, that's pretty sad. That is actually really quite sad from Feint. They had a pretty clutch last hold. Polly hitting an absolute crazy air shot on Starkey, but no, that's kind of tragic. They had about 4 players, I think, chasing that one medic out because they were so desperate to get the frag, get back into the round. And you know, you see the aggression from Smear and mid, and the over chasing of the med. Once again, they're falling into the trap of we're behind against Se7en. We need to make up rounds, and because of that, they're losing more rounds because they're making mistakes.
Yeah, same again. So 4-0 up now for Se7en. 30 minutes. He's gonna start to play on Feint's mind. They've got to get around soon. They've got to make something happen. Polygon jumping in, not quite hitting his rocket, so not quite making it happen. Thankfully, Matters is going to be picking up Starkey, but the position for Se7en is just so much better. Raymond's even regenerating so much of his health back now. It's going to be Matters super far apart from the rest of his team. Captain going deep, trying to get something towards his combo, but Kunu's going to pick up that frag. So keeping his medic alive, keeping this Ubers nice and equal, but losing mid, losing some position here. It does look like, I mean, they might get their spawns just off a second. I would imagine they should. They kind of feel like they want to maybe keep some control of a yard. It's these kind of plays they have to start making now. They can't just kind of keep giving up some position for free. There's absolutely no reason why not.
Yeah, they're umming and ahhing, but they have actually finally opted to come to yard here. Stark's going to try and get up through drop down, but he hasn't made it. He's actually going to be caught in by Polygon here, so that's kind of a little bit tragic there from Starkey trying to go for the play. But this is probably going to cue the aggression from Feint here, but what they don't want to do is do it. Oh no!
My
And
days! Yeah, they're just walking into stickies again. I mean, exactly the same as I feel what we saw on Snake. The only thing you could say is thank God they didn't lose their medic, but with Smear going super weak here as well. This momentum play from Se7en, there's a storming forward. Still, Smear's going so weak, they're going to have to use this Uber. Taking down Tiger, that's a good start to things. Ixie still hitting some serious meat, but Dallas just goes behind, takes him down. He's dodging so much, no one's hitting anything on him at all.
He's absolutely farming them, surely. He misses everything. Somehow they almost lived. Flash is finally going to get the fragment on right, but all of Se7en really weakened. The soldiers are coming in from Feint. They could actually crush them here if they're quick. And there was just not enough damage from Cadus in that Uber. He had the players trapped, but he didn't really get any damage onto them. Thalash had to get the kill, and then the scrappy fight is just won by the soldier positioning from Feint.
Yeah, we do still have Captain behind, but he's going to get killed again. Polygon hitting another air shot. I feel like, you know, if nothing, this game, Poly has hit some nutty air shots.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely an opportunity for Feint to try and take mid, although they have to be really wary of the back cap. Stark's going to try and go up, drop down once again and going to get spotted for the second time, so 2 times unlucky, I guess. I don't know. 3 times lucky, maybe. It'll happen next time.
It is what it is. We do have Ombrak on crits right now, so, you know, they're starting to feel the squeeze right now in terms of the timing, and about 70%, and they're going to be building up this crit advantage. And honestly, if Se7en aren't quite aware, they've had some good peaks to get an idea, but if they play a little bit too close, this might be an absolutely insane crit here. Looks like Eemes is going to walk forward. He's taking the position. Crit has been used. Case is going to be the first casualty, but so many more of these Se7en players are going to be super far back.
That was actually a crazy shot from Se7en to start. He's going for the complete luck shot, and it actually completely works out. So only scouts alive now from Se7en, not going to be able to repush into mid, probably, unless they get something kind of crazy happening. But actually, Cadis has spawned, so I expect they're going to be going quite aggressive with this now, as you know, no Uber up for Swift. I mean, for Feint.
That is true, but there's still no soldiers really up on the side of Se7en. They're just only getting their spawners. Cadis actually getting completely hung out to dry. The rest of the team completely walks away from him. He's going to get taken down, and now it's going to be... There's one soldier already for Feint going behind. Polygon's trying to just do whatever in terms of second, but he's dragged the players back. He's, you know, dwindling away this Uber advantage. Ixie as well taking spikes to the flank. This is real kind of desperation plays from Feint, and I mean, they're really causing Se7en to feel really uncomfortable here. Two soldiers going back from Ixie. Satu all the way at last, dragging Tiger back as well. As crits is going to be up any second for Ombrak, and I feel like this distraction, if he can just stay alive, is going to be so important. Take down Starkey as well.
Yeah, Ixie making so much space for his team now, and Spear's going to be coming in aggressively through Troke. Raymond needs to just not drop this, but he's going to pop quite conservatively, that's fine. Cadis is going to go super aggressive, he's got all the way behind him. I don't know what Cadis is doing. Going for some kind of mad play. No, it's old Cadis, I suppose. They Uber onto them, but his frags are traded evenly here. If they try and push the Troke, this could definitely be a mistake. They're getting so much damage from Smear, but actually Smear will go down. It's a pretty nice bust from Se7en, potentially.
Yeah, they're picking up Smear, they're picking up Mathers now. It's going to be Polygon and Ixie just kind of having a backup as well alongside Ombrak now. And in this situation, I feel like things are starting to look a little bit iffy, you know. Once again, it's kind of controls on the side of Se7en. We do have crit advantage, but that's all that it is. It's still basically about equal. The dry push is coming in from Feint. There's so much damage. Neither scout have any health. A nice little arrow from Ombrak's going to keep Kuno alive, but not for much longer. He's going to go down as well. No scouts on their side, and even Polygon is playing super close but super weak as well. They have to back this, and they have absolutely no chance here at all in terms of holding, and it's actually going to be Raymond getting this Uber before the crit of Ombrak. Yeah,
this is going to be really rough for them. They need to somehow get the crazy drop into Raymond, maybe with a pre-fire rocket or something, but Polygons, they're caught in, they use the crits, but there's absolutely nothing doing for them. Ombrak's going to go down immediately, and they're all just stuck there, and there's an absolute crunch from Cadis.
Yeah, it's just going to be taking down another one, Polygon as well, so there's no heals up at all, only 3 players. Kunu trying to play close, trying to make something happen. Ixie trying to go for the prevention of that cap there, but he's going to get taken down. All these players on Se7en going towards point. With Mathers' death, that is a swift 5-0 to Se7en here. And that's going to be the series, 2-1.
Yep, that's it. So 5-0, 2-3, and 5-0 for Se7en. So kind of a weird one, I guess, showing there how, you know, Se7en really, really hate Snakewater. They banned Logjam because obviously that is probably even more of a wild card than Snake. But, you know, Snake, definitely not a map that they are comfortable on at all. And yeah, but really that map was... The last map was all about Smear, and this map was all about Cadis. Cadis took so many crazy Ubers in, just solos in that tiny second area, grand area are just so strong, and he was absolutely annihilating people.
Yeah, I think we got some little logs to look at for this granary game, so just having a quick little look over. I mean, obviously, you know, the damage was looking good. Like you said, you know, there was some big damage moments from Cadis, as well as some opportunities where he seems to just jump in and just, you know, feeling it. Doing whatever, trying to make things happen. I feel like one of the important things, though, is Thalash 19 for 5, Tiger 16 for 8. Those are some really low deaths on their scouts there, and it really showed in terms of these late fights.
Yeah, I mean, you see Cadis, Captain, both getting a lot of damage, not a fantastic KD, but it didn't really matter. They would just go in, make a ton of space, and then Thalash and Tiger would just waltz in after them, and there's just so many free frags for them to, you know, have their fun with, and obviously getting a fantastic KDs because of that. I mean, the Smear's damage taken is really quite sad on this map. It was kind of similar to Gullywash, you know, he's trying to yank his team back into it, taking 32% heals there, but there's so many situations that you could see what he wanted to do, but, you know, they were just kind of getting a bit outplayed.
I feel like one of the most telling statistics in terms of how some of these late fights were going, how some of this position worked, how it came to, you know, taking some of these engagements where Se7en would just kind of, you know, they'd send some guys deep, they'd get damage, and then they'd kind of play nice and steady with their scouts. I feel like the most telling statistic is the fact that Tiger took less damage than Ombrak. So literally just waited And then the second, they were in this kind of like winning position, they would just be able to charge forward with the heals along with Ash and then just, mulch down these remaining players. So
Yeah,
super,
definitely.
super significant.
Tied to that, really, Raymond 4 deaths, Umbrak on 9. So, Feint were just not playing the situations clinically at all. They had some decent mids, I guess, but Raymond didn't die very often at all as well. And Feint just not looking. I mean, it needn't have been 5-0, right? I mean, most of the reason that it went so quickly was that they had to try more and more desperate things to get back into the game as the time ticked on. They conceded the advantage so early on that it was just very, very difficult for them to get back into it.
Yeah, so I do believe we have some interviewees here. We have Umbrak from the side of Feint and Tiger from the side of Se7en. How's it going, guys?
What up?
Hi.
All right, so a little bit of a quite interesting one for us to watch in terms of the scoreline. It really kind of shows how much of a difference a map makes. So I guess first question is going to go to Umbrak. In terms of the pick and bans, we were talking a little bit in the pregame, discussing how historically for any kind of team with Cadus and any of these kind of, 7 Crowns rosters, they've never liked playing Snakewater. Was that kind of, the majority of your focus in terms of picking a map, or is it just a map which, you would be looking to pick anyway, something you guys just feel really comfortable with?
A bit of both, I guess. Like, it's a map, even though we lost against Scent on the last week of regular season, we were losing 3-0 and then we managed to come back. We almost won the map, so I felt like we had good momentum on that map going. And maybe we figured something out, so we figured, why not? Like, it was both a good map for us and apparently a bad map for them. So was not really, we didn't really tailor that map pick towards what they were weak on, because I mean they're not really weak on anything anyway. So it's about finding the right balance between what you're good at and what the enemy team is not really comfortable with.
Okay, Tiger. In terms of your picks and bans, are these kind of we saw Gullywash and Gunnery coming up for you guys. We saw the ban of Logjam. Is this kind of is this the general kind of feeling of the team? You guys are pretty comfortable, Gully and Gunnery feeling okay. You guys not really, is Logjam going to be like your kind of perma ban going forward if that remains in the season?
Nah, not really. It's just like we're good on every normal map, so let's just play the normal maps, while we can.
Okay, I can dig that. We obviously saw complete kind of not a complete kind of reversal in terms of roles from kind of map 1 to map 2, but map 1 was obviously very much the way of Se7en, kind of really dominating in terms of control. I guess Umbrak, did it kind of just feel like, from my point of view, it just seemed like you guys just couldn't really get any sense of that control, and you were always kind of playing from a back foot, and nothing was really working out. Was that kind of the feeling for you, or did it just kind of, I don't know, slip through your fingers seemingly for no reason?
No, it's like between the two. So on Gullywash, we were 3 round down really quickly. I think after like 7 minutes, we were already losing 3-0. So when that map was over, I talked about how it's okay to try things, but when the map begins, it's important not to give away too much ground and too much anything. Otherwise, you have to run against the score, and when you're the weaker team, you can't give that much of an edge to the opponent. So going into that second map, we try to be a bit more careful, and it worked out because we got an early lead. So it's really hard to fight against the clock, and it happened the same against Ascent, where we were 3-0 down really quickly, and it's obviously not really a good way to play the game. So we knew what was wrong, and I think we figured that out pretty well on Snake. But I don't know, at some point, some players are just better, and it's hard to overcome, no matter how hard you try. But even the fact that we got a map is pretty revigorating.
Yeah, I think definitely, like, considering this is our very first round of playoffs, so there's obviously, there's still everything to play for at this point. Even going kind of through that lower bracket route, there's still a lot of games, a lot of opportunities to cause some more upsets. I think it was definitely an interesting start, because I mean, in terms of the main season, the only team which we've seen Se7en drop a map to this season at all has been Ascent, which is the second seed, their closest opponents, which some say by quite a decent margin at this point. Eemes, what questions you got for our boys right now?
Quick question for Umbrak, I guess. After your potentially unexpected. Although in fact, I predicted correctly. I predicted you would win 3-2 on Granary.
Nice.
After that, how were you feeling going into Granary? Were you confident, or did you think it was still going to be kind of an uphill battle?
I was fearing a bit. Like usually when the underdog win the map, they kind of unexpectedly, especially so close to the end of the map. It's really hard not to fall into that full sense of confidence, thinking, okay, we have this in the bag now, we have momentum. And it happened to me a lot of times where I remember when I played with the old Ascent against Se7en in finals, we win a map, and then you're like, okay, it's fine, we won one, we can do it again. And I think people don't realize how hard it is to keep a good mental when you go into a game where you're not supposed to win and you actually manage to win some. And I don't know, I feel like even in Scrim 7, even when you win against them, but like there's 5 minutes left and you're one round up, they will somehow manage to take it back. So sometimes, like, it's not really about the aim, you also have to fight against mental strength. And I guess we have a less experienced roster in that regard, so I kind of feared that kind of backlash, and it happened.
Okay, thanks. And for Tiger, I guess, so you said you're good at playing the normal maps. Would you count Snakewater as a normal map?
Yeah, we just played badly that game.
Okay, fair enough. What do you, if you had to put your finger on one particular issue, what was it?
Last pushes. Like, we always seem to have, like, you know, someone die just before we go in, or something wasn't quite right, or someone might forgot what they needed to do or something. I don't know, but it just wasn't like comfortable pushing last. But yeah, I don't think it's that much to look into. It was just a bad map. I think we have all had those games where we just think, you know, wipe it, you know, forget about it. It won't happen again. And yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to watch Snake, because, you know, it was good. It was kind of nice and back and forth. One of the key moments we pointed out is obviously Se7en as a team. We've seen you guys do some fantastic kind of pressuring. You're always trying to make your opponent feel uncomfortable in any situation they're in. Something which is really interesting to see, and it was quite nice to see how Fate were reacting to that. You know, it was fairly kind of calm, and even if ultimately it would go the way of some of this kind of Se7en pressure, it was still kind of, you know, lasting through things almost a little bit better than would perhaps be expected. But in terms of I'll go ahead and give my last question. No, you know, I'll ask a question to each of you. In terms of going forward in playoffs, I'll start with Tiger. Obviously, Ascent are your closest rivals. You guys are top seed. Everyone's expecting that once again it will be Se7en going through, winning the grand finals. I would imagine Ascent is the game you're most looking forward to. Is it perhaps Swift you're actually a little bit keener, or what are you feeling? What's going to be the kind of the game you're most looking forward to in the next couple of weeks?
Well, me personally.
Yeah, you.
I don't know. Ascent's always like a fun game. I guess it's like the most sort of hyped, I guess, you know, through the season. I don't know. I just treat the games as, like, you know, it's playoffs, so it doesn't matter who you play, you just got to win. That's my outlook on it.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna argue with that. How about you, Umbrak? Obviously, you guys are gonna be now going to the lower bracket. You'll be going against the loser of Swift versus Ascent. Who are you kind of hoping to go against?
It's gonna be Swift. It's not about hoping. It's gonna be Swift.
Anything can happen, Umbrak. Anything can happen. You reckon you guys got a good matchup against them?
I mean, you look at the seeds. Look at the regular game. We've lost against Ascent, Feigned. Not Feigned. Yeah, we lose against ourselves. Oh yeah, we lost against Ascent, Se7en, and Swift. So, I mean, I don't know if we have any good matchup. It's all gonna be about what we can take from the game we play tonight. I think, like, even though we lost kind of heavily on two maps, there's still a lot of things to take, and I know it's going to be important to keep these things in mind and not like wipe it from our memory. We just need to focus on that and focus on ourselves. I don't really care who we're gonna play next. We have equal chances.
All right, just take it as it comes. It's a fair mentality. I'm hoping to see obviously both teams go in nice and deep into the competition and see exactly what happens in some of these later playoff games. This is obviously our first playoff game of the season, so literally anything can happen at this point. So unless Eames has got any last minute questions, we might just start doing some shout outs and let everyone get on with the rest of that night. Fair enough then, all right? You're going to go eat? Wow. Okay. I'm going to give Ombrak the first shout out. All right. Eames gets his first shout out. Why not? Just for you, buddy.
Shout out to my LAN team. And shout out to the teams who played today and Wiethoofd and eepily, because it was a very good game.
It's good stuff. Enough. Ombrak, you can give some love to.
Shout out to my team for putting up a decent game. Only decent. Shout out to Se7en for good games. You guys for casting, people who watch, and people involved in Copenhagen. And Faint.
Good stuff. Tiger, how about you? Any shout outs?
Shout out to my team and shout out to the cast. That'll do.
Fair enough. I'll shout out, obviously, Eemes and V2 for doing this with me, Ombrak and Tiger. It's great having a chat with you guys and getting a little bit of that insight. Shout out to the viewers. Obviously, Se7en and Faint as teams. And obviously, shout out to the ongoing coverage we're going to have of playoffs moving forward. So obviously, keep an eye on those tweeters and TFTV itself. I believe the next playoff game should be only a couple days away. So keep an eye out for that. That is going to be Ascent versus Swift. So I guess until then, we'll see you next time.